went to hunt down and Sunflower Elhorn. Upon doing so, you found that he was not surrounded by his typical pirate crew, but by a detachment of Hangul gnomes. They confronted Samugi, and expecting hostilities, they actually presented reverence towards apparently their former king. They requested that Samugi return to his home and continue his duties as king, at which point they presented a crown that he refused to put on but was ultimately forced upon his head, which brought out the King of the Black Sky. So in the coming melee, Samugi was kind of torn between attacking his allies and actually jumping in to deal with Elkhorn and his Hangul gnome compatriots. With that in mind, the crown was removed from Samugi's head, and Varric did exact his revenge on the killer of his son.
Again.
Again. With that, your crew was brought to you. There was some question of what would come next and what would happen after, which brings us into a prolonged period of downtime.
When I locked up the crown in a box and threw it over the edge.
That's right.
Ocean.
Varric did.
To remember where it was dropped.
Yes, you did. So somewhere in the kind of southeast of New Callum, there is a Hangul artifact that is at the bottom of the sea. So, since everyone did such an excellent job sending me all the detailed notes about exactly what you all wanted to do during downtime, we will only briefly go over it all over again, or for the first time right now. So,
Wait, are you being facetious?
Yes.
No one sent him notes.
Okay. I did.
I did.
Actually, it's.
I didn't really, but
yeah, it was a little loosey goosey, but we figured it out for the most part. But we'll start with I'll go with an arbitrary order. Let's start with. I kind of want to end with Cass, but it might make more sense to start with Cass. Yeah, let's start with Sundara.
Okay.
That's you.
Yeah.
Looks like you were looking around for some.
Oh no, I was looking for my cat. How she sneaks in here. Sorry. Who is that?
Wait, me Sundara or her Sundara? Your Sundara too? No, that's why I'm so fucking confused.
Oh.
All right.
Okay.
So, Sundara, I know one of the things you want to do. Actually, I'll leave it free form. I'll let you decide what you want to discuss with the group before making decisions versus just doing things. So go ahead.
Oh.
So just kind of free form. What are some things that Sundara would hope to do?
So she's going to kind of step away for a little bit, and kind of figure out her life. Kind of like an eat, pray, love thing. Or like Marvel Hawkeye, like going to go live his life, and then the Avengers show up and I was like, "What? You have a house?" I'm like, a regular life? And she's just like, oh yeah, hey, what's up? Um, so her first thought is that she's going to give the heart of Karsus that Valinor has to her sister, Elowyn. And she's not gonna tell anybody about that. She's just gonna do that.
Okay.
Well, I guess she'll tell Valinor because she needs it from him.
Okay. So, presumably,
You-
are you going with Solinor when you go on this eat, pray, love journey?
She invites him, but she's not gonna force him if he doesn't want to. But she will ask him if he wants to come.
Okay. Well, then he'll go with you for
Perfect.
sure.
Cool, great.
Also, quick question from the. Isn't your sister evil?
Up to interpretation.
Isn't
She
she
is-
working with the
she's-
guy
She
who
is
was trying
dating
to steal your
Faraday.
brother? Yeah, and Faraday was trying to steal your brother.
He was trying to steal the heart of Karsus, which her
Has
brother
your
is
brother.
Inside. Yes,
But then you're giving it to the girl that's dating the guy that was trying to steal your brother.
it's her brother too.
I get it. I'm just saying.
You're saying what is correct, James.
Yeah.
That,
Yeah, yeah.
that's correct.
And that's why I'm not bringing it up to the group. I'm
Yep.
just
Cool.
doing it. Yeah.
Unilateral decisions.
Yeah. Like
being
Sandara
made.
takes some time. She like essentially mourns the loss of her brother all over again because they already did when he died the first time. And then she kind of meets up with Elowyn and is like, "Hey, yeah, I don't trust Alexi. There are probably some things you don't know about him, but you know what? I see a lot of that, like that mirrors a lot of my own situation. I do trust you, and I think that the heart of Karsus and our brother's soul, I took my time to mourn with it, and I think it's only fair that you also get that time as well. And whatever you decide to do with it is up to you." So that's kind of how she presents that to Elowyn.
Give me a persuasion check, please.
Persuasion. Oh wait. This is our character sheet. 1 second.
Yeah, that one. You don't need that one just yet.
Don't say that.
Yeah, I didn't prepare
but-
anything.
That's a 26.
Okay. She will tell you at the end of this. She'll say, "Look, I'm sorry about the way that I've been acting, and I just want to let you know that I've spoken with Alexi, and he's going to be leaving you and your companions alone. And that was a promise that he made."
As she says that, I hear the whisper of Solinor talking about how he's definitely going to break his promises, and I say nothing. I'm just like, thanks, sister.
Yep. Okay.
Great. And then yeah, so for the rest of her downtime, so part of it she's going to do some planar travel. She's going to spend some time in Mechanus. This whole Eat, Pray, Love journey is like about figuring out, like remembering that she likes creating things, not just to like for battle
Disintegrate.
and yeah, exactly, yeah. Not just for battle, not just to kill stuff. So she's like doing a whole like magic and creation and like learning how to make cool clockwork stuff that isn't about killing people.
Now I'm going to stop you there
Okay.
and bring Vale into this conversation. So, because Vale, my understanding was you also were going to be doing some planar travel.
Yes, I was. Give me 1 second.
Okay. So I'm gonna kind of be bouncing back and forth because there might be some. Let me ask you this: so, are you specifically trying to do this on your own, or is there going to be any crossover with anyone else?
I would cross over if like Vale is also traveling to Mechanus.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So, let's pause there and then go to Vale. So after the events of,
I'm going to interrupt you because I think what happens with Vale at the beginning, time is all weird, is going to change things.
okay.
So she was going to go to Mechanus, but I don't think she's going to go with Sandara.
Okay. That's fine. Let's do this anyways. Let's start with you regardless. So what is Vale going to be doing in the initial part of downtime?
As soon as everybody sort of relaxes and we have time to do whatever we want, she makes some of her own preparations in the captain's quarters and then goes out into we're in New Callum, right?
Mm-hmm.
She goes out into New Callum to meet with Dunsparrow. Sends her a message along the way.
Okay. As you send a message to Dunsparrow, the spell fails.
She will hurry up and go to I don't know, government official place.
Okay.
Place where we were going to be sentenced to death, I guess. And try
Yep.
to ask around, see if anyone knows where the lady is.
Okay, so you go to the Marble Palace, and you're in regular form, right? I mean, for you, that's a loaded question. You are in Veil form, which is your now normal form. Well, not your form, but it is the form that you are more permanently assuming now.
Yes. Just about right, yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, this is probably going to be a problem. She pulls out a bunch of clothes from the bag of minstrel belongings, and she looks normal. She looks like a normal citizen. No armor, no weapons, nothing.
Okay. You go around and ask the you ask around, and I'm gonna say with your level of Riz, that should be relatively a simple task for you. You'll hear, yeah, the lady has been around. She's been more secluded as of late. We've seen her here and there, but it's more operating by messages and writing new edicts. There's been a lot of changes and things are extremely busy here. So if you'll excuse me, I have much work to do. You'll notice the palace does look like there's a bit of a buzz to it, and you can tell like there is stuff that is changing. Like it seems like Dunsparrow is just doing a complete overhaul of the New Callum governing system right now. And it's being represented in the architecture of the palace as well, because statues that have been here for about 100 years are right now actively being like taken down by geomancers, with new ones being erected in their place. And you might get a little bit of a chill as you notice the new statue that's being erected seems to be a shrine or an homage to the late Oswald Beaumont.
Okay. So what I want to do is now suddenly not so large scope. like I kind of interrupted Jasmine's thing. So
Mm-mm.
Okay.
Oh, keep going.
Do you want to take a break here and come back to this, or do you want to push on? It's up to you.
Vale is going to find Dunsparrow.
Okay. Then we'll pause there and go with someone else.
Yeah, but she,
come back.
if offered or whatever, she's not gonna go to Mechanist right now. But she's going.
So it sounds like until that task is complete, downtime will not resolve.
We can fast forward it and say like I can't find her, and that's fine. That also changes what I want to do.
Yeah. We'll get to that.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, because you're very resourceful. So, okay. Let's go to Varric.
Mm-hmm.
What's up with Varric over this period of time?
Like as soon as is socially acceptable, or as soon as he can get Alvara, I mean Sindara, you guys' names are too close, to send him home, he
What's
will.
first?
I mean, you guys park in New Callum, so you're
I can
also within
walk?
walking distance. Yeah.
I'm gonna walk. Like as soon as we get there, I'll help, dock up the boat. Not the sky one, I guess. Are we on the water or are we on the sky?
We would park both of them in the water.
Okay. Then I'll help.
It's up to you guys. Yeah.
Then I'll help make sure both of the boats are secure and
Yeah.
the crew knows
I mean,
what to do.
for what it's worth, yeah, your
I guess it's
crew's
all-
not completely incompetent. They're
I
just
guess I'll
small and goblinoid.
leave it up to Leland to delegate, I guess.
Okay.
And then I'll dip to see my wife and daughter.
Okay.
Whichever one I can find first gets the biggest hug.
Okay. Yeah, well, I'll say you find your wife first, but not before your daughter finds you.
I like that.
God, I
What
love her.
happens to me?
How many hit
Do
points
I
do you
get stabbed? I have a lot.
have? You do not get stabbed, you do get bagged.
Like over my head?
Yep.
How tall is my daughter?
She drops from the ceiling.
Okay, cool. I'll remove the bag
And then she'll just be holding on to you.
and then I'll return the hug.
Yeah, you kind of have to, like, do that.
That's fine.
Yeah, so you reunite with your
assume-
family.
I assume Varric's more flexible than I am.
Yeah. No, he's not.
Oh, shit.
You look like a RoboCop trying to hug her back, which you get the sense might be why she's hugging you that way, and she's actively also kind of like avoiding your arms, and just being like a little back parasite.
That's fine.
She's getting a little bigger too. Like she's not
Yeah.
light. Her 10th birthday is coming up soon.
Really?
So she's like which means she probably has the physique as far as like height, weight, and of like a human 16-year-old.
Oh wow. Nice.
But also you're large, so it's no issue for you. Yeah. When you reunite with Sarah, she's very happy to see you. She,
I don't like the way you said that.
well, you can tell she is pretty stressed out with some of the stuff going on in New Callum right now. You could tell like lately, basically ever since Dunsparrow's been, made into like the de facto leader of the merchant council. It seems like Sarah has kind of been like constantly reacting to things that have been changing in the city. But now it seems like there's so many things changing with so little information as to what's going on behind the scenes. The general vibe is just that like something big is happening in New Callum right now, and she doesn't know what it is. And she's almost like anticipating that whatever it is, the city and the Sea of Swords are going to be kind of poorly prepared for what comes next.
Okay. I would like to talk to her later in the evening when I could be alone with her.
You can make that happen. She'll make time for you no matter what.
Yeah, I don't want to, like, if she's in the middle of something.
No, she'll step away.
I can wait.
Yeah, I mean, this is more of like a long-term thing, so.
Okay. I just kind of want to ask her if... like, maybe she wants to get out of here?
Yeah, she'll go with you.
And... No, I mean, like, her and the Sea of Swords, like, if we could move...
Oh,
the
like
operation.
Like out of New Callum?
Yeah. I understand she cares about the city, but I also care about the safety of the Sea of Swords in general, but especially her and Natasha.
He'll tell you, Varric, I would hope that your traveling with the Remnants was more than you accomplishing what you set out to do when you were looking for our son's killer. I would hope that there is some level of duty to this group of people that you've experienced very traumatic things with. In the same way that you might have a duty towards them, I feel a duty towards this city. Now, it's, again, somewhat new to me, but this is one of the few places where regular people have some modicum of freedom and some amount of autonomy that is slowly but surely being taken away. And with Reyna being pushed towards a different path, there's not really anyone else. And in the same way that you previously couldn't abandon your group to come be with me, I cannot, as much as I would want to, leave this place to go live in a log cabin somewhere. So I think it will happen. You and I will have our time to do that. I was actually hoping you would stay and maybe even use some of your talents, for good. Maybe something a little bit more structured.
Structured as in...
Well,
like join the Sea of Swords? Structured?
Yeah.
I mean, I do have a commitment still to the Remnant. We are taking time to work on personal things. But there are a few things we still need to tie up.
And I would never ask you to step away from your group. I really, really like most of them. How about this? Why don't you come on as a consultant? Take some time, just be with me and Tasha, and we could really use some assistance with training some of the newer recruits. I know that you're not traditionally a teacher, but maybe you could learn. Maybe some of these younglings have something they could learn from you.
I was thinking about, taking some time with Natasha in training. It might be good to get her in with some of the recruits.
Yeah,
Maybe not.
I mean, no, we have a people here have kids, people in the city have kids, and that's one actual frequent request. So maybe you could do that.
Is Natasha in the room with us?
No.
Okay. I mean, yeah, I would love to train the children to defend themselves. Natasha is larger than most of the children her age, though, so I assume, we might need to maybe organize them by size as opposed to age.
See, which is why you'd be so great at it, because you already thought to organize them by size.
Yes. Yeah, I'll do it.
Okay.
Give me a couple weeks to get things ready. And I was thinking about taking Natasha hunting one morning if you wanted to skip out, play hooky for a few hours. Come with us?
Yeah, depending on what it is. Yeah, sure. Actually, that sounds more like father-daughter time.
Okay.
We'll all have our time together, but you take her hunting.
Okay. I'm gonna go talk to her.
Okay. She'll give you a kiss on the forehead, and yeah, you can go do what you like. Do you want to have some time with Natasha that's at the table right now?
I can wait.
No. We're going through it. So
Yeah,
you go
I
out
would
and
like
seek
to-
out Natasha. Okay.
Yeah. And where is she? What is she doing?
You notice she is in. You find her in her room.
Mm-hmm.
She is like very, almost like a mad scientist, taking a kind of bowed dagger to some strips of cloth, and she's like madly like cutting something through.
Alright, I'm gonna sit down on her bed.
Okay. She looks up at you and just like gives you a knowing smile, and then continues doing what she's doing.
What are you up to?
I'm getting my hunting outfit ready.
Really?
Yeah.
Why is that?
Because you and Mom talk super loud.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't even have to press my ear up against the door. I just sat back like 10 feet. I heard every word.
Do you listen in on your mother's conversations often?
No, they're usually extremely boring. Here, would you like to hear an impression?
I'd love it.
Oh, it looks like the Merchant Council has once again decided to fuck over the everyday person, and they're introducing XYZ policy. Well, we should petition some of the street merchants and kind of get together a union, and if we get enough to get, that's about how it goes, and that's where I walk away.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, unionization, great idea. Just remember that. You don't have to think about it. Good impression, also.
But your conversations are so much more like, oh, I don't know what I need to do. I just killed some guy, and now I feel bad about it because I miss my wife and daughter.
Is that what I sound like?
Yes.
And that's more interesting than unionization?
Yes.
Well, I do want to go hunting with you. I think it'd be fun. Also,
Perfect. Are you ready?
it's a morning thing.
You watch as she's like, oh, I thought we would go at night.
Not the first time. Next time. How's that sound?
You watch as she had like pulled something out from under her bed. She's got like a full-on, like it's longer than a longbow. It is very, very well crafted. This is like an expensive item. And then she like slowly puts it back under her bed.
Hold on, bring that back out. Where did you get that?
I bought it.
Where did you get the money for it?
Sold some stuff.
Such as?
A magic pair of gloves.
You got a magic. Where did you get a magic pair of gloves?
Barrelback.
Did you take them from Barrelback?
I convinced him.
How?
Because he owed me a favor.
Oh. What did you... How did you trick Barrelback?
I didn't trick him. We made an exchange. He gave me a magical item, and I gave him my silence.
Silence on...
Stuff.
What stuff?
Money stuff.
He's selling illegal items? I'll take your silence as a yes. Does your mother know? No. Interesting. How about this? I won't tell your mother. I won't tell your mother about the bow or the magical gloves if you tell your mother that Barrelback Bill might be selling things he shouldn't be. Otherwise, I'll take the bow and I'll sell it. And then I'll use that money for something boring like paperwork.
She reaches under. She is still holding the bow. She hands it to you.
Really? Honoring the deal. Alright. You can keep it. But I will be telling your mother about Barrelback Bill. But you don't have to break your word. How's that sound? And you get to keep the bow. And we'll get to see if you could even use it tomorrow morning.
She holds out the bow to you.
What do you want?
I gave someone my word, and I brought you into this, trusting you that you would also not,
Tell Mom.
Yep.
What if I just talked to Burrowbackville?
You guys can discuss it amongst yourselves, but I made a deal, and I'm not going back on my word. Besides, what he's doing, what he may or may not be doing, is not hurting anyone, and it's bringing money into the club.
The club?
Oh, that's what he calls it.
Okay. Okay. Then keep the bow and I'll talk to Burrowbackville myself. Therefore,
Okay.
no. I do respect the fact that you want to keep your word, even though it's shady business. Yeah. Be ready? Get some sleep?
Well, the world runs on backroom deals. So.
Who told you that?
It's something I overheard Mom say in one of her boring conversations.
Well, unfortunately, it is true.
So let's just say I'd rather be the one in the room making the deal than the one just listening from the outside.
Yeah.
Besides, it got me this bow.
It's a very nice bow. I hope you're very careful with it.
It's magic.
Magical things can still break. I've seen it. How is it magic? What does it do? Have you shot it?
Mm-hmm.
What happened?
I mean, it shoots normal, but it can do extra stuff.
Okay.
It can make a magic missile spell.
That's very cool. We'll try it out tomorrow. How's that sound?
I've already tried it.
We'll try it out together because I want to see.
It's pretty sweet.
Get a lot of rest. We'll be leaving before the sun's out.
Okay. You watch as she takes the cloth, the fabrics that she's been cutting out, and wraps the shawl around herself. So she's just covered in this black shawl with the bow kind of around her back, and it covers that as well.
Very cool. But get some sleep.
You watch as she ominously just looks at you, and at this point the room's a little dim, and she backs into the shadows in the back, and she completely disappears from sight.
Is my daughter a Gloomstalker Ranger?
I'll just say you cannot see her despite your dark vision.
Cool. Creepy. And then I close the door.
Okay.
I don't need to do it at the table. I would like to talk about Dr. Burrowbackville about giving my daughter magical things.
It's gonna be this, go from this very friendly, smiley thing to being oh, look, I've gotten in over my head, mate. She's scary, and
Yeah, she is. I saw her literally disappear into some shadows.
She's been doing that. She's your little girl. I don't want to say anything, but it's fucking terrifying.
I was scared of her.
She's made me scared of the dark.
You should be. You don't know if she's there. And she's
But
got the
I
dirt on
should.
you.
I can see in the dark.
So can I. But I couldn't see her, I'll
It's
tell you
not
that.
natural, mate.
It's not.
I think you should get a cleric.
I think she should use it to her advantage.
I mean, okay. Oh, so you know about the bow, which means...
I know about the gloves. And I know
Which
about...
means...
I know that you're selling illegal magical items.
I'm not selling illegal magical items.
You're selling magical items under the table?
Oh, well, I suppose if you're talking about those illegal magical items, then... Look,
Let me tell you one thing first. She didn't say anything. I just read her very well.
Oh, I know she's good for it.
Yeah. Now here's the other thing. I'm not as easily convinced as she is.
Look, here's the deal. The work that I do is the only thing bringing money into the club. And your wife is a great leader. She is extremely understaffed. She's got no one helping her. And she is not in a position to deal with the realistic economic situation that we are doing right now. So what I am doing is I am shouldering that burden and not telling her where the money's coming from. I feel that by telling this to her now, we would simply cause more problems in a time that we absolutely do not need more problems. So I will tell her eventually, and I think she will be okay with it once she understands the reality of the situation. But right now, she's got much bigger problems, so I am trying to shoulder this burden. I'm only working with reputable merchants. I'm doing a little bit of enchanting on the side.
Reputable?
And keep...
You sold it to my 10-year-old daughter.
She seemed good for it.
You've got 3 months to tell her, or I will.
That's fine. 3 months. Look, what am I going to do with the other 2 months? You know what I mean? It's good to see you, buddy.
Yeah. I'll be around more often. Consulting.
Oh yeah, I heard they had you coaching the 10 and unders.
Yeah. You know. Whip them into shape is what I'll be doing.
Yeah, good, good. Just protect your throat.
Don't have to tell me twice.
He'll give you a hearty Minotaur warrior's handshake. Cool. Anything else?
I would like to get into some antics with Vale and Zendara if they will allow me.
Okay, we'll have to kind of see where that goes. So let's pause there and go to Alara. What sort of things would Alara be doing with downtime?
At this point, I don't know. I've been out of so many sessions.
Praying the entire time.
If you want, we can come back. If you want, we can come back to you and give you some more time to think about it.
Honestly, I wouldn't even know what I do right now. But yeah, just go ahead and go to the next person. I'll try to think of something. But
and maybe they'll do something you'll want to get involved with too. So it's fine. This is kind of Lucy. You're kind of just going around the table, so we can come back. Moogie Man. Where are we at?
So after our confrontation with my, I guess, family and ex-troop, some of you spent a lot of time after that whole confrontation. He's just been in a lot of solitude, just very quiet, kind of shook, if you will. And after noting that Varric threw the crown off of the ship, Samugi is going to attempt to go back, unbeknownst to the rest of the group, and recover the crown.
Okay.
Wow.
I mean, this is downtime, so you can absolutely, like, basically charter a ship and a diving crew to do that. Do you have access to any personal gold? Because this will come at a cost.
I believe I do. Hold on. Okay. I have no idea how much personal gold I have.
Does anybody have any issues with Samugi using party gold and then, like, dealing with it later? Okay. So, let's do this. As far as choosing a crew, you could kind of get some advice from Leland as to how to do that. You can go super cheap with getting a crew. You can go super professional with getting a crew, or kind of middle of the pack, depending on like how assuredly you want to get this thing. So, were you going for like the best of the best, or trying to save
Well,
some
I guess
money
the priority is just keeping it on the down low. So I don't think he would want any of like our own personal crew to be aware
Right,
that he's doing
which is
this. So keeping...
Oh, so you're not even gonna so because you wouldn't really know how to go about hiring a crew. And for what it's
So
worth,
who
I mean,
would be my only resource?
Well, the best one would be Leland, and you are one of the captains here. If you approach him in a way where it's like, hey, this is between us, you would trust that he wouldn't say anything.
Okay. All right.
You guys have that old man, like,
Okay.
you know?
So super cash.
Us oldies gotta stick together.
Precisely. So super cash gonna approach Leland.
Okay.
Say Leland, how would one go about procuring a diving crew? I've got a bit of downtime. I just wanted to. I'm looking into new hobbies.
Doing some diving, eh? Bit
Yes.
of treasure hunting?
One can only hope.
Well, depends on what it is you're looking for. But I've got some guys. I can put out some feelers.
These guys, are they a part of our crew or?
Oh no, our guys don't know the first thing about diving. Besides, this sounds like something that you'd want on the side, yeah?
Exactly, yes.
So no matter which way you go, it'll be discreet, but you can go with the Kozanite divers. They're a little bit cheaper, more of a penchant for getting into trouble, and less precise. There's a new hot Triton crew that's been hitting the scene. Expensive, but from what I hear, very thorough.
How much are we talking here?
Well, generally speaking, it's 250 gold pieces per day. Depending on where exactly this thing is, which you haven't mentioned, would kind of determine, what it would be. So how far out from shore it is, the depth of the water. You would have to disclose what the item is if you want it retrieved expeditiously. They do have a spellcaster with them that's particularly adept at locating such objects.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I would be interested in hiring this crew. How soon could we get them together?
I'll put out my feelers and let you know. I'd be ready by tomorrow.
Please do. Okay, great.
Very good. Is there anything else you wanted to talk about, or?
No, that was pretty much it. Discretion would be appreciated, and keep doing the good work that you do, Leland.
Sure thing. And just gives you a nod. Yeah, so Leland will absolutely look into that. He can have a crew assembled. So to go out on this journey and accomplish this, I will have you roll me 3 survival checks, or up to 3 survival checks. Because you have the crew, you are going to have advantage, and this is going to determine how long it takes for you to achieve this, or if it's achievable at all. So go ahead and give me the first survival check at advantage.
Natural 20.
Okay. So Samugi, just in tune with his environment, you also took mental note of where Varric tossed this item. You lead the crew there. There is a very kind and professional Triton sorcerer who specializes in recovering such items, who, between the use of some divination magic, is going to coordinate his divers, and almost like I forget what it's called, those like rods that people use to detect water. He like gets you, once you get over that spot where you kind of get them into the general direction, he just says, "Stop the ship here. It's beneath us." And he looks at some of his divers. They go down. You knock it out in about 6 hours. They're in the back.
That they find it? That they
Yep.
get it?
Yep.
Oh, dope. Okay, great.
So shake your hand, and that's 250 gold off the top.
Not as bad as I thought it was going to be. It's quite affordable.
Well, that's what a natural 20
crew?
gets you.
Nice. Okay. All right. Very good. Movie covers it in some cloths and kind of holds it close to his person and just shake hands with the crew and goes back to the ship. And
You meet the captain, who is notably not a Triton. He is a kind of very average-looking human man in his like mid-40s. He's pretty thin, but he's got a bit of a beer gut, and he's got a Ned Flanders stash. And he just goes, "Well, it's been a pleasure doing business with you. Look, if you ever need help getting cursed pirate treasure or anything like that, I think we've assembled quite an effective team here. Yeah, just always look up the Calamite Divers. You know, always happy to partner up with you guys. Your skyship is super impressive, so I know the boys were excited about it to work with you. So, yeah. Hope to do business with you in the future. That's, I guess, what I'm trying to say.
Very good. I will pass the word along. Maybe, and mind you, this particular mission was, well, let's just say let's keep it between us. But in the future,
and he just does this, and he goes.
Okay now. Very good. I trust that you'll keep it a secret. Speaking of cursed items, would you perhaps have a reference for a cursed items identifier or curse removal services?
Curse removal. I do have a group of. I think it's like a nunnery that we use, actually. Outside of that, I've got this encyclopedia that helps identify certain kinds of curses. And he pulls out this little book and hands it to me. He's like, I've got an extra copy. You could actually keep this. And you see it's titled Leopold's Encyclopedia of Curses and Hexes.
So he just sort of chuckles to himself and just holds up the book and goes, This is This is good stuff here. Thank you. I appreciate it. And
Yeah, I love it. It's concise, and it's placed in little, like, bite-sized and very easily digestible nuggets of information. Not too technical.
Great. Perfect. Well, thank you very much.
Okay, so with that, you retrieve the item, and it sounds like you're hoping to identify and or see if you can decurse it. If you're willing to go into town and have a vendor identify it for you, then yeah, you can pay some gold and have that done if you wish to do that.
Okay, yeah. I imagine that I'm wearing like I don't know what what my wardrobe's looking like ever since I turned in my silks. But if I have like a dark, cool robe or something with like a
Yeah,
hood on it,
yeah,
keep
sure.
myself super low key. I mean, I am the king of the Hongul dynasty, and so I don't want to just be walking around town willy nilly.
Yeah,
Want
yeah, you can
any
absolutely go a little incognito.
perfect.
So we'll say if you knock off another, we'll call it 100 gold if you want to keep it extra discreet. You can absolutely have it identified.
Okay.
So this would be known as the Crown of the Black Sky. This is basically the crown that signifies the king of the Hongul dynasty. And it is inextricably bound to the spirit that is possessing the king. And when the crown is worn, it brings the spirit back in control of the king's body.
So it's not a curse and it can't be removed.
It is very much a curse.
Okay.
You could technically... The item doesn't really do anything... Any magical effects of the item more have to do with, like, the spirit... that it's connected to. So in reality, your interpretation would be like, removing the curse would be equivalent to destroying or disenchanting the item.
Right. What are the effects?
By identifying the item, you don't know. It brings out whatever effects are by being possessed by the spirit.
And based on my previous experience with it, do I have like agency like Samugi when he's wearing
Your previous
it? Like,
experience with it is you felt like you were literally fighting inside your own mind for control of your body. And like wrestling control back and forth with something else.
Okay.
The closest translation of the name of the spirit that has been possessing the king of the Hongul dynasty, and as you like are near this crown, you have flashbacks of basically you are beginning to remember some of your past life, and you start to feel that a lot of the reason you don't remember it is because this spirit has been controlling the king for probably about 100 years. So the king of the black sky, you get the sense, is less referring to you specifically and more the spirit that resides within you.
Is that the translation?
No. The translation of the name of this spirit is Immortality for Madness.
Okay.
The name is Guangji. And you now have this memory of, after being basically a prisoner in your own body for so long, you wrestled back control and basically chose a life of exile to pretty much quarantine the spirit within yourself. And you don't know how many days you spent as a hermit just living with this demon inside you, but having these conversations, these almost turning into like a friendship with this thing, because neither of you had anyone else. The whole encounter where finally you almost banished it deep within yourself by tricking it into telling you its greatest fear and causing it to basically bury itself after you terrified it with the sight of just blood as it was starving.
Okay. Even without wearing the crown, the spirit was still residing in me.
That is the impression you're starting to get, that this thing is more like something that brings out the thing that's been within you this whole time. So you're getting the sense that, like, when you left your life as a hermit, or when you thought that you got rid of the Oni, the place that it went to go hide was within you. And that's why all these strange things have been happening, and why these Oni keep finding you, is that you are never really separated from this thing. You're taking it with you.
Okay. So Mugi is going to return to the ship. And also, is there a place where I could keep this crown? Like, can I get my own little secret bag of holding?
Yeah. I'd say it runs you another 500.
500? How much we got? Sorry, team. I'm just
a drop in the
discretionary. Okay. Okay, so he's gonna go get himself a.
You're spending dead Elhorn money. Go for it.
Oh, love it. Okay, I'm gonna get myself a nice, ornate, cool-looking bag of holding.
Okay. Easily done. I assume Jasmine's marking off gold.
Yep.
Okay. And then, is there anything else for now that you would like to do, Samugi?
No, Smoky's gonna go back to his quarters on the ship, and he's going to spend some time pensively sitting there and being with his thoughts.
Okay. If there's, we'll have another time to come back around. So if there's any like long-term projects, things like that, you guys have some downtime to get some of that stuff done. So we're gonna circle back. Alara, do you want to go now, or do you want us to come back to you?
The only thing I think that I'd be doing right now is I'd pay a visit back to the old sisterhood, to see kind of how things are going down there. See if there's anything they need.
Not so much. They're rebuilding.
Okay.
I
definitely would like to stay and help rebuild, and maybe even lay a few protection spells in the place to make sure it doesn't get destroyed again.
I'll say they have pretty much done that themselves.
Okay.
Um, uh, they are going to approach you. And you're basically going to be congratulated because they know that vengeance has been exacted on the coven that laid waste to the sisterhood.
Okay. Awesome.
So with this, Skulks in Shadows walks over to you, the black tabaxi, and she says, "You've done very well, child. Despite not making a coven of your own, perhaps the Raven Queen is moving through you in other ways."
That's what I'm hoping.
She says, "I believe the Queen has a gift she wishes to bestow upon you. Come." And she walks you over to like 2 chambers away to just a stone slab that looks like it's a place that they lay dead bodies down on. That's like lit by candlelight. And as you approach, there is, as you step through the precipice of the door, 2 shoulders or 2 hands like gently rest on your shoulders and start removing your robe.
Okay.
They're going to gesture that you lay down on the slab.
Okay.
With that, Skulks in Shadows just snaps her fingers and walks over to you, and you watch as a hooded figure brings over what looks like a long raven's feather with like a razor sharp barbed hook kind of at the end. And she is going to gently, like, this kind of like furred hand is going to gently like grab your forearm, like slowly move up, and then tighten, like with a strength you absolutely do not expect from this slender tabaxi, and almost like wrench your arm a little bit and pull you down. And you begin to feel this like kind of tearing pain as she begins to tattoo something on your arm.
Do I recognize what language it's in?
You can't see it.
Oh,
right
okay,
now.
okay. Gotcha.
I'm going to ask for a Constitution saving throw.
All right. Lost all my damn D20s. Somehow. Okay. Digital dice it is. All right, let's see how badly these can do. Oh, yay, there you go. 5.
Okay. So, this is way more painful than you would expect from a regular tattoo.
Okay.
Whatever ink is in there, you feel like is actively. It feels like you're getting like just lava injected into your skin.
Yeah, it's like coursing through kind of
Also, the way that she's doing this tattoo is not like a typical like kind of stippling thing. It's literally taking this hook and going like parallel to the skin and then like going like deep in and out and deep in and out, like making these weird kind of like curvilinear patterns that kind of vary in their depths. And it just feels like she's turning your arm into mincemeat.
Sweating bullets right now.
Yeah, you're actually going to pass out, and some of the other clerics are literally going to like kind of have to hold you still and hold you down. and you're going to pass out from the pain.
Yeah, just before I pass out, I'd let out that blood-curdling witch's scream and
Yeah, you scream and nothing comes out because you're in a silent spell right now.
Okay.
So if anyone was watching this, you would see these like black hooded figures like holding down Alara, who's kind of basically like in her undergarments right now, as like Skulks and Shadows is just like a mad scientist, just making mincemeat of your arm. There is blood just like dripping off of the slab onto an area where it looks like there has previously been dried blood. As Alara is like actively like screaming with no sound coming out. So with that, when you come to, there's like a dressing that's on your arm.
Okay.
And your robes are folded next to the slab. And Skulks and Shadows emerges from the shadows, and she'll cast a healing word, and as she does, you are forcibly like picked up off the slab into like a sitting position.
Looking down, what do my arms look like now?
Well, it's just one arm, and there's like a very tight dressing on it.
Okay. What is this?
He says, "This is the mark that the Raven Queen has chosen for you. Tonight, under the light of the moon, you will remove the dressing and concentrate on the mark." And with that, she kind of like takes her little like kind of cat claw and just like with her thumb kind of like strokes your chin a little bit, and she says, "You've done very well, little one."
Thank you. I don't know what to say. It's just been more chance with the chaos that we've been through. I'm glad the temple's back up.
With that, you watch as she just kind of nods and says, "Yes, it's been a lot of work, but I would say that we have recovered." And with that, she takes a healing potion, and she like shakes it up, holds out your arm, and just pours the healing potion over the dressing.
Yeah.
And you watch as it kind of like soaks in and is almost just made this like constant salve that's sitting there between like the dressing that's on it, that's just kind of like caking this tattoo in this healing salve.
Okay. The full moon tonight. All right.
So with that, as she dismisses you, is there anything else?
Nothing that I can think of.
That you are doing with your downtime. Okay. So we're gonna go round robin all the way back around to Sundara, and we're gonna try to knock this out in 2 goes through. So, you were planning on going to Mechanus with Solinor. You can absolutely do that while you're in it. So you're just hoping to kind of experience this place for yourself and see how it affects you and your like sorceress abilities.
Yep. Studying, kind of doing like a tour, I guess. I don't know, see what my grandfathers are. Before I leave, I do want to, so I think it'd be a couple of weeks before I leave, so I'd have time to prepare some clockwork devices that I would give one to each person of the group that is like a teleportation spell in a kind of a locket, clockwork locket, and I tell them all that if, there's ever an emergency and you need to get somewhere safe, this will take you to New Callum. And if you need me, just send me a message, but I might be I don't know what the service is like. And if I can't find people, like, I'm not gonna go running around looking for people, so I don't know where Vale is, so I might just leave it in, like, the captain's quarters. And I don't know if Samugi is, like, in the middle of the ocean when I do this, so...
So sorry. Briefly, so you're looking for someone?
No, I'm just, like, leaving, like, clockwork gifts for
Okay.
each member of the Remnants, if I can't
Okay,
find them.
and they all do the same thing?
Yeah.
Okay, got it. Okay.
And then, yeah, and then I'll go to... Well, I'll go to Mechanus.
Okay. While you're in Mechanus, and you have Solinor there to kind of show you around, your experience will be that while you're in this place, it's like existing... I'd say it feels almost intoxicating to be here, because basically every single like pixel here you can interact with and alter, and it kind of makes you feel like a god, because your commune with clockwork literally plugs you into the entire plane of existence. So you can quite literally just look over at basically the whole place is just like literally built out of clockwork cogs that are just ever moving and rolling. So you can literally just look at one area and see a cog that's like the size of New Callum, and as a cantrip, stop it and reverse it. And I mean, doing so like kind of shuts the entire plane of existence briefly like down for a second, and all the like modrons and duodrons and things, like you start to see them like start to scurry around in a panic when you do that, which I assume would make you feel bad, and then you stop and reverse it, and then everything kind of goes back to normal. But you could also literally just like look at the equivalent of what would be like a mountain, but it's just this huge like clockwork like undulation, and just plug into it, immediately understand its function, and alter it, change it, move it however you want. And it seems that no matter what changes you make, this place seems to adapt perfectly to it. And I'm getting the sense you're not trying to go over here and just full on like destroy everything. So it's literally like you are just in this beautiful sandbox that you can limitlessly manipulate. So, I mean, you can make structures, you can make objects. I'd say if there was, while you're here, if there's any clockwork device you wish to make, you essentially have an infinite amount of clockwork scrap to work with. And you're kind of starting to understand how Solinor might have been creating a lot of his objects, was kind of like exploiting the raw like clockwork potential of the plane of Mechanus. You'll also find that anything that is too complicated for you to do just yourself, as you begin trying to control and create things that are a little bit more than just a few seconds, you'll find that you are basically swarmed by like an army of modrons and duodrons that begin like seeing out your designs the way that you are trying to make them, and they just do it. So it's like you're literally just plugged into the plane, and any changes that you make to the plane are just like all the denizens here are just like, oh, time to get this done, and they just like hop over there and just like immediately help you create whatever you're trying to create, and then just like as dispassionately walk away when it's done.
It's really cool. Freaking don't want to leave now. So could she make like a whole icebreaker just to do it?
You could try. I'd say, like, so the icebreaker, like, especially now that you've been here, the icebreaker is much more than just a clockwork device. There is a very complex clockwork skeleton inside of it that had a whole bunch of engineering beyond that. So this is all just like the clockwork stuff you can totally do. So any amount of like clockwork item or whatever you wanted to create, you could do. But if you wanted to enchant something or something like that, you'd have to still enchant it. If you wanted it to be powered, you'd have to power it, especially if you remove it from the plane, and more specifically like the physical connection to the greater cog, because everything here is connected. But absolutely, you can, like, it's basically like this endless plane of just like I don't even know how to really fully describe this, but it's like just this entire plane of clockwork cotton candy that you can pluck out of the greater cotton candy and like put anywhere, but once you pull it off, it's like you have to find some other way to power it and all that stuff. But you can absolutely basically like grow clockwork objects out of this greater just clockwork world, just for the purpose of like pruning it and separating it and having some other utility beyond whatever it does in Mechanus.
Well, that's really cool. So she probably is going to spend a few weeks, maybe a couple of months here, just hanging out, making stuff. A little bit high on power, maybe. That was not the intention going, but now that she's here, that's probably happening.
Okay. Okay, good to know. So are you gonna do anything beyond being out of there?
I mean, eventually she'll go back to the material plane. So I think that's... Oh, and I guess the whole point of going, forgot about that, was to kind of travel like her grandfather did and see or try and kind of understand all the stuff that he discovered and what he was doing in Mechanus. Follow his footsteps, all that jazz.
Okay. So how would you try to investigate that? How would you go about doing that?
By prodding Solinor and asking him any information he might know. And then prodding the creatures of the plane.
Okay. So Solinor would just describe that and he's just kind of like enchanted by just like watching you do what you're doing. But he would basically just like, he would actually literally tell you, the way you just intuitively commune with this place reminds me of your grandfather. That's exactly what he would do. Just, he would go quiet and just begin to create. As he talks, you get the sense that there's not like anything particularly focused that Karsus was doing with the plane of Mechanus. It was more that, like, for him and Solinor, this was a place that they could both just almost, I mean, he never uses this term, but like, I don't know how else to describe it, but almost act like gods, where they literally can just create whatever they want and limitlessly explore their own creativity and imagination. He'll even like give you tours of like some of the districts that Karsus created here, and it's literally just beautiful cities that are completely empty. Just like ornate brass palaces that are in constant motion. I mean, it's like Faraday's Tower times 1,000, without any like gimmickly like teleportation illusion stuff. Like this is all physical, tangible stuff of just this endless, harmonious, always in motion city that is just lives in perfect like symbiosis. And there's just like a limitless amount of these things. Like, so the amount of landscape that Karsus has created of like infinitely complex moving cities would cover Mistrala like 100 times over.
Okay.
So like
this place is massive.
So basically, like, yeah, your grandfather would come here and just be like, I'm going to casually build civilizations.
I could see why you would want to turn the material plane into something like this. She's like smiling and exuberant and just like loves being so able to so easily like attach herself to the rest of the world. Yeah, this is amazing. And then she like makes something like with the wave of her hand.
Yeah. I mean, he's like longingly looking at everything you're doing and just says like, it would have been a paradise.
Is there any, so outside of like the cities and like the brass, is there like sunlight or?
Nope. There is, you kind of look up and it appears that you are just in this, there's just this vague like golden sky. And I mean, if you look closely in the distance, it looks like even the sky has some kind of like clockwork components. Almost as though it's a projection that's held together by like certain areas of clockwork that you can see through whatever screen is projecting down. But it has the appearance of just like a beautiful golden sky with no clear sun, but there is just light everywhere. And you also are getting the sense there is no day-night cycle here.
Gotcha.
It's just like perfect and endless light so that you can always see exactly what you're doing.
So I'd say like the end of the first month, Sundar is like walks outside, looks up and kind of sighs and just like, I think I miss the sun. And she kind of looks over to Solinor to see how he reacts.
He just kind of gives you like a little like shrug and just kind of a look that's like, well, we can go back whenever you like. He appears like a little bit detached from himself, where like he doesn't seem to be particularly like infatuated with Mechanus. You kind of get the sense he's maybe kind of going through his own like personal journey right now. But I mean, it is intoxicating here. You can maybe see again why someone would want to just have it be like this in perpetuity. But there definitely is a certain lifelessness to it. Like it is like, I mean, you're quite literally inside a giant golden snow globe.
Yeah, so I'd say probably another week of that, and then she decides to go back to the material plane and spend probably months just exploring places in Karsus that she's never been before. Yeah, assuming she really hasn't seen a lot of Karsus itself. So kind of going from two different extremes, like one extreme of Mechanus being super lifeless and then going back to Karsus and trying to find like really gorgeous, life-filled, beautiful places, until finding like a secluded-ish spot that she's like, yeah, no, I'm gonna build a house here right now, and does that.
Okay. I will say, in the time that you spent communing with Mechanus, as you leave, you actually begin to notice there have been some physical changes to your body from being that in tuned with Mechanus. You notice those like golden tattoos that you have. While they've kind of been like a marking in Valendry, you notice that if you touch them, they are now like they don't feel the same consistency as your skin. Like you can feel it, they're made of brass now, like, or gold. Like there is a metal. You are basically part cyborg now. Also, going down your arms, there are these kind of curving runic patterns that are also brass. Kind of like this golden brass. So as part of this, you can add the item Outer Essence Shard from D&D Beyond, which I believe will have it there. Otherwise, we can figure it out, but I'll briefly describe how this would work. You will always have this item on you, because it is quite literally a part of your body. You can also choose to attune or unattune to it. Basically, the way it works is anytime you use a meta magic option, you'll roll a d4, and then you will consult the following table for this effect. So on a 1, it's the lawful effect. You can end one of the following conditions affected by yourself or another creature you see within 30 feet of you: charmed, blinded, deafened, frightened, poisoned, or stunned. Number 2 is chaos. You can choose a creature who takes damage from the spell that you used, and then that target has disadvantage on attack rolls and ability checks made before the start of your next turn. There's the good effect, which is you or one creature of your choice you see within 30 feet of you gains 3d6 temporary hit points. Or there's the evil effect, which is choose a creature that takes damage from the spell you cast using this meta magic option, and that target takes an extra 3d6 necrotic damage.
Nice.
And by gently kind of like playing around with it, you'll kind of discover that this is kind of not a thing you necessarily have a ton of control over. And you watch as like the markings on your skin, it almost looks like it would hurt, but like the metal on your skin somehow perfectly moves and reconfigures itself anytime you use a meta magic option. So like these like now physical tattoos will just reconfigure and make a different pattern, and it's like whatever the wheel of fate lands on whenever you use that thing, and then whatever pattern is on your arm just happens to be the last pattern that landed whenever you used X meta magic option. And it's kind of the same thing with your facial tattoos, where there's almost like a little bit of like a Rorschach effect, where like your like facial tattoos change depending on what your last used meta magic option was.
That's really cool. Yeah, I think for the rest of the downtime, so she, I mean, hire someone. I don't know. I build a house, or try to build like a little homestead in a cute place, secluded, very naturey. And she just like spends time studying, building little clockwork things. Now that she is actually relaxing, she does have like weird nightmares of like all the crap that they've done in the last few months that she had just been like kind of stuffing down and not thinking
naturally.
about. And so there are some nights where she's like waking up in like a cold sweat. And it's like, oh wow, this is a lot to process. And so she's trying to take time to process all of that.
Yeah. Okay. So with that, we're gonna finish our second round here, and we're gonna go to Vale last. So going down the list, Alara, anything else? Nope. Okay. Varric, anything else?
Yeah.
Okay.
I forgot. I'd like to take my trident to the tallest mountain in the desert and bury it, as that's the only way to get rid of it after 100 years.
As I recall, so yeah, you don't want to bury it. You want to stab it. You want to stab the tines into the highest mountain within the hottest desert.
That's right.
To leave it dry in the blazing sun for 100 years.
Yeah.
So this, you would have to do this in the a mountain in the Dalmiri Desert.
The highest mountain.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, to be fair, you have a fucking sky ship, so that kind of really simplifies what you're doing, and probably you could probably get the ability to get a fly spell going. So this is is that the route you'd want to go?
I mean, if the fucking icebreaker isn't in use, and I can just fly it to a mountain right quick. I'm not trying to
I'm gonna say the cost of this expedition is gonna be 500 gold pieces.
Cool, I got that. I'll spend it.
Okay. When you get to the so the name of this mountain is going to be the Scorched Fang.
Cool.
It's the highest mountain there is within the Dalmiri Desert. This place is basically uninhabitable. It's just like constant sandstorms. I mean, there's a whole historical thing that you guys, I think, previously learned, maybe in a campaign before, about how Alhadria was like quite literally like the oasis of the FETC until the Dalmiri people came in and like wrecked everybody. But this place is basically completely uninhabitable. There's like no life here. So as you, and how exactly are you like physically, so you can fly over this mountain, how are you physically like dropping down onto it and doing all this?
I mean, I guess I just like, are we flying physically over it?
Yes.
Then I'll just like get a rope and slide down.
Okay. Give me an athletics check to see if you can spelunk your way.
19.
Okay, the DC was 18. So I'm gonna say because it's so windy here. I mean, you're literally just getting like like cuts from just like us. You're in the middle of a sand hurricane right now. You're gonna be having to wear like some kind of eye protection. I imagine you've almost got like wraps around your body. A rope would be totally useless here, so you're actually having to drop anchor while you're flying.
Cool.
And you're on the anchor and having to basically like hoist yourself up. You jump, hit the mountain, and bounce off, and begin to fall down. And basically, you have like a climbing pick that you have to like reach in and catch yourself as you're then like precariously like kind of pendulum swinging off the side of just like a sheer, I mean, it's called the Scorching Fang. It's like a sheer spike. But with your Goliath strength, you climb up the side, kind of honing back to your, stone giant heritage. You make it to the top of this mountain where you barely have enough room to stand, basically at the tip of the fang. You pull the trident from your back, and as you go to stab it into the ground, you just hear this voice just go, "What are you doing?"
I continue to stab it.
Okay. With that, you give me a unskilled strength check.
18.
18. You strike the trident into the fang, and there's something about the volcanic rock here with the density of it. Like, this is not like normal stone, and the tines bounce off, and your hands completely go numb, and like your elbows go numb, and like you can just feel like this like really uncomfortable like funny bone, like your arms just are almost like turning into jelly as they bounce off with this high-pitched reverberation, and you almost are like gonna drop this thing. That is a failure. You're gonna have 2 more chances to do this.
$19.
19. You once more reach down. Once again, your whole body is numb from these reverberations. You feel like this is more than just the physical discomfort at this point. There is something clearly like you feel like this thing is absolutely fighting you right now. You hear the crew kind of on the side of the ship, half of them goblins, all cheering you on. So you just hear these tiny voices just go, "You got this, Captain."
Oh. Good old goblin inspiration.
I'll give you a D4 for this last one too, just for the hell of it.
I'll take it. That is 28.
Okay. With the cheering of the did you roll you rolled a 19?
Yeah, I have 4.
And a 4. Yeah, it's literally the max roll without a natural 20.
That's a critical hit with this weapon.
Yeah, I mean, it's not an attack roll, but yes. So with that, as you hear the cheers of your crew, they all begin to fade out, and the scream of the sand around you turns into just like a whisper. And as you look down, you swear you're looking back into the eye of the Kraken that you initially stabbed with a spear to get this item in the first place. And with that, you feel like you completely detach yourself from this thing that has taken hold of you. And as you raise the item up, you feel the full force of your strength return to you. And you always feel like you could kind of emote with this weapon. Like you always felt what it was feeling. Instead of this menacing like rage and hunger, what you feel right now is despair. Like, if this Kraken could communicate with you right now, what it's saying is like, please don't, is like the last thing that you hear, is almost a whimper. And you bury this trident into the peak of the mountain up until your fist is like about 6 inches from the base of the earth here. With that, you hear these cheers turn into, ah, whoa, 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 and you watch as a huge crack forms in the mountain, and you hear distant echoes of this mountain being like almost like completely fractured down like 10, 100, maybe 1,000 feet, to the point where it's this kind of like, I should maybe get off of this thing. And you hear your crew screaming. Like, this went from a cheer to holy shit. And then you hear Leland just go, bring him in! Bring him in! The ship is now going to move towards you, and the anchor is going to swing at you. I actually need you to make a dexterity saving throw.
Oh, shit.
The DC is going to be 14. Okay. So with that, you are going to get nailed by the anchor itself.
Awesome.
And now I need you to make a strength saving throw. The DC for this is going to be 20.
God. Oh, 25.
Okay. So if this were anyone else, this would have just yoted you off the mountain, and you'd probably just be a full death with no one being able to find you or recover you. Because again, you're
That
on a
would have
sheer.
been fucking the craziest way I've ever died.
I mean, that's pretty close to dying in your sleep to a dream spell, but yeah.
But I didn't die during my. Oh, I did die in my sleep.
You did die, yeah.
I forgot.
So with that, this anchor hits you, and if any of you guys were here, what you would see is Varric gets nailed by this anchor. It smashes him against like a sheer rock that breaks off like one part of this lava rock, and Varric and the anchor disappear into the sandstorm. And the anchor swings back with Varric attached to the bottom of it. As there's this like pause where everyone's like, we just killed the captain, and like silence for like what feels like 10 seconds, and then everyone cheering when they see that he's hanging on. They pull you up. There are people like just, you're getting rushed with crewmates all just like patting you on the shoulder. Everyone feels like they just witnessed a miracle. One of the goblins gets so excited. He's like, yeah. He like jumps up, but he jumps up a little too high, and the wind just carries him away. And you just hear like the echo of his voice is just swallowed by the sandstorm. And everyone just kind of turns.
Died?
Yep.
Oh fuck.
Everyone turns, sees that, and kind of pauses for a second. And then everyone cheers again. Okay, so yeah, you have accomplished this task and not died while going it alone on a dangerous spelunking mission with no previous experience of doing any of this, and without using a fly spell.
Yeah. Sounds like something Varric would do.
Yep, perfect.
True. Yep.
All right, anything else?
Yeah, the mysterious gift that Sundar left for me.
Oh, there'd be a note that tells you what it does, which is it'll teleport you back to New Callum if you're ever in trouble. Just open the locket, and the spell will activate automatically.
How does this thing work?
It's just a glyph of warding with a teleportation circle onto a clockwork device.
That's it. Just
Is
that.
teleportation circle an action?
Oh, that's a good question. It is a... Oh no, it's a minute. So I guess it's a teleport spell. It would have just taken a lot longer to make them.
You've loaded these with a full-on teleport?
Yeah. I mean, I wanted them to be safe while I was gone.
That's annoying. Okay.
Because that's an action.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Good to know. Yeah, that's great.
Oh, shit.
It would have taken me a whole week to make them in that case.
Great. Is that due to any item I gave you or any homebrew stuff that I made? Did I do this to myself, or is this just what you're doing to me?
Yeah, it's the.
Okay. Is this because of the glyph thing?
Yeah.
Your special glyph thing? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, cool. Well, yeah, you all have like a free teleport essentially. Okay. That's so exciting for me to deal with.
Did Barrow Backfield tell my wife about his illegal arms trade?
If it has been a month, he has not gotten into it yet. But again, she does seem like pretty stressed about stuff.
Yeah, I know. Before we're done, totally done, I will have told her if he hasn't. Yeah, I guess that's it. I would be splitting my time between just being on the icebreaker with the crew and being at home with my family.
Okay. And training the 10 and unders.
Yeah.
Okay. I like to imagine Varric giving just like a speech on just like, never underestimate your opponent. Like and then you like zoom out and there's just like a bunch of like little girls looking at him all serious with a bunch of like wooden staffs and stuff.
Yeah. They're gonna be the badassest 10-year-old girls you ever met.
Okay. With that in mind, we're going to go back to Samugi. Any last things before we move on?
Does Samugi have any like prior knowledge about shape shifting, like from like Vale and Cass's situation? Is that like something specific to Vale and Cass?
So in what regard?
Like, is that like something to do with their class type, or is that something attainable for the average gnome?
So you would get the sense that Cass's thing is like very specific to Cass, but what is it you're thinking about trying to do?
Samugi wants to essentially learn how to shapeshift, or even just temporarily shapeshift himself for a portion of time. And he's making plans to return to his homeland and do a little recon.
Okay. So I'll say on doing some research, one thing that can be done is there are magical items that you can use to like create an illusion to disguise yourself, which is different than actual shape shifting. There are also other more like kind of more powerful magics that literally alter your form. You could probably get like some potions or some potions that achieve these effects. There's also scrolls that do them. You would learn, if you wish to do something like that, a temporary way to do it would be through the spell Alter Self. If you wanted something that wouldn't be detectable by people who could see through illusions. Otherwise, a disguise self would be an option. And again, there's like potions and items to achieve these effects.
So alter self is less detectable?
It's less detectable, but it's more complicated to get a hold of. And the effect is going to be probably more temporary.
As in, like how long?
As in, so I think the spell lasts an hour. Yeah. So you could get a potion that could do something like this at various price points. It could have various durations. So I'll just say it could be for 1 hour, it'll be like 100 gold pieces. For up to a day, it'll be 1,000 gold pieces. And you can kind of go like anywhere in between, depending on how much time you want to spend.
Okay.
You guys do have buku bucks. Jasmine, how much
Yeah.
money is in the party fund?
Party fund. We've got 27,250 gold worth of platinum and 16,000 gold worth of gems
Okay.
and 17,000 gold worth of other gems.
Okay, so you guys are
Yeah.
above a cool 50k right now. So just putting that out there.
Okay. Yeah, Smokey's going to grab himself, like, let me think. Want to be gone for, I mean, Sandara was gone for like essentially months, right? So we're saying that we have a good amount of time to work with here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna plan a mini vacay back to Hangul land for like I'll start with like 2 weeks-ish. And so I'm gonna buy that amount of potions. Let's say I'm using
And are you trying to be
one.
disguised the whole time?
No, because I'm assuming I'm gonna have somewhere to retire
Yeah.
and like,
But basically
you
anytime
know,
you're out in public?
yeah.
Okay.
So maybe
To be
like,
fair, like you get the sense that you might not be the most recognizable. Like from your visions, you do look different and like older than usual, and you're also kind of like unassuming. And it's not like we live in an area where there's like, or an era where there's like CNN, where people are gonna see you and be like, aren't you the king? It's like in reality, the only things that people have seen of the king would be like there's some vague statue and it's just like, yeah, it kind of looks like us. Like
could I
it's
do
like, yeah,
this in
it's
like could I like disguise myself in like a less like, I don't know, dramatic way, you think? I mean, you know,
you
what
could
they
blend
say
in
about
really well, like
Hangul gnomes
without yeah, I mean without like any
all
disguise. Like
looking alike.
you look the part. You are a Hangul gnome. You speak the language,
Okay.
and you're kind of like an unassuming old man. You get the sense people generally don't pay too much attention to you. If you're in very specific places, that's where like certain disguises might be more useful. But you get the sense you might not have to like literally spend your whole vacation in disguise anytime you're out in public. It might be
Okay.
more like if I'm going to this certain place that it's like more of an issue.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm gonna buy myself like, I don't know, like 4 8-hour bouts of transformation. Well, what'll that run me?
I'll say um, we'll call it 4,000 gold pieces.
All right. Done.
Actually, wait, it'd be less than that. We'll call it 3,000.
Okay. Okay, so I'll take that. What did I say? 4 8-hour?
Yeah.
Okay. And how would a gnome such as myself?
Sorry, hold on. I'm doing math in my head. I've overcharged you by a lot. I'll call it. We'll call it 1,800.
Okay. And yeah, I would find a mode of transport back to, what's the name of my home place? It's not Hangul, is it?
It's just called the Hangul Dynasty.
Okay, back to the Hangul Dynasty.
Yeah. Okay. And you're just doing some like investigation there, or are you actually like letting loose and doing a vacation?
No, I'm not going on vacation. I'm trying to find the monastery where I came up as a young monk.
Okay. You can do that.
God, I hope they can't detect me under disguise. They probably will. We'll see.
Okay. And what are you hoping to do there?
I want to just find out more about like what's going on in the Hongul dynasty and like what the state of my homeland is, and then also I don't know, potentially like do some training, see if there's anything that I can do to like train myself to withstand the effects of the crown.
Okay. Yeah, so you can find the Daejeon monastery. Go ahead and give me an unskilled wisdom check.
$17.
17? Okay. So with that, after they'll absolutely take you in and you can do some training and meditation with these monks. It definitely brings back some memories. With the short time that you're there doing that, you will now permanently have a +1 bonus to any saving throws made against being charmed or possessed.
+1 on saving throws to charm or possession, even after I leave?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, I'm gonna, while I'm also there, do I recognize like the monks there?
No.
No? Okay. New gen.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, then I guess I'm gonna just, I guess, focus my training on, like on Oni specifically.
Yeah.
And,
So it's you'll say the superstitions and concerns about the Dokebi are very prevalent within like the people of the Hongul dynasty. There is a concern that there's kind of like a disconnect between the people of the dynasty and the ruling elite, where basically the royal family is kind of seen as being like warmongering and like overly militaristic, whereas the people want to focus a lot more on like art, culture, trade, that sort of thing. Because the Hongul dynasty has already kind of asserted itself as like the dominant organized power within Koza. But again, the like monarchy is constantly conscripting like young people into its armies, and there is a superstition that a lot of this behavior is because of the influence of spirits, and people have a genuine concern that like their ruling class has kind of been like running away due to this influence.
am I the only, you mean like the ruling class running away like I did?
No.
Like going
Sorry,
missing?
running away was a poor term. Like the ruling class kind of just running amok.
Okay.
While under the influence of these evil spirits. Because again, there is no king right now. There is just a basically like what would be like a steward of the throne, because King Chedong has never been officially announced as being dead. So it's kind of this weird thing where like you have this like ruling royal family that's kind of just doing whatever they want because they're like, oh well, the king's not dead. We're just kind of like holding things down till he gets back. But these are all the new rules, by the way.
I see.
So there's a general kind of unrest within the general populace of the Hongul dynasty. is what you would learn in your time there.
Okay. Okay. Do I guess I'm sort of seeking specifically knowledge about how to rid myself of the spirit that I believe is still within me.
Okay. Give me an investigation check.
Okay. 12.
12.
Mm-hmm.
So, on speaking with some experts on the matter, and I'd say you could meet with basically like a Hangul cleric that is a specialist in this matter. Their impression will be, after basically casting some like divinations and enchantment spells on you, that the spirit that resides in you has been there for so long that it might be near impossible to extract it from yourself. And that your best chance is to learn to live with this thing and control it versus like get it out of you. Because at this point, it's like you've been so like merged together. You basically have this parasite living with you for so long that there's just no feasible way to get it out anymore. And
Okay.
you would also learn that it is actually itself the source of many of your abilities. Is you're actually harnessing the ability of this spirit to do the things that you do.
I see. Okay, now what should I? Do I know who's like kind of the, I don't know, like de facto leader of the dynasty right now? Is that like someone in my family, my brother or something?
Yep, it would be your brother Mujin.
Mujin died, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But if you ask anyone on the street, they're just like, "Oh yeah, it's Mujin."
Okay. And his son, I'm assuming, is probably next in line. Is he still alive?
Yeah, his son is still alive, but no one here is talking about anything like Mujin has died. Everyone's just like business as usual.
Okay. Okay. All right. I think with that information, I want to get this. I actually now want to get this curse removed from the crown.
Okay.
But I'm not sure if doing this in like in the dynasty where it pertains to
idea.
is, yeah, the most. It's not going to be low key. So with that, Samugi is going to return back to New Callum, and he's going to try to find someone to remove the curse on the crown.
Okay. Honestly, after asking around, you'll be directed to a cleric from the Voidwing Sisterhood by the name of Alara.
Damn it. Can't do anything around here.
I mean, you can go with someone else, but that's probably the most, the one who's got the reputation for being the most adept at curses.
All right, that's fine. I'll at least get the friends and family discount, maybe.
Okay.
Okay, well, after all that, I have assumingly overspent on these transformation potions because I don't even think I used any because I was thinking about doing some confrontation, but I don't want to do that.
That's okay. I mean, you have them now, so.
Yeah, now I have them. So Samugi's is Alara on the ship still?
Yeah, I mean, you can find her.
Okay, yeah. Samugi's gonna find Alara. Just knock on her door.
Okay.
Hey.
Hello.
Hey, Alara. I've been doing a little bit of soul searching and, just kind of thinking about things that have come up in my own personal history. And, well, I mean, you were there with the whole confrontation with, Mujin and, the King of the Dark Sky or the Black Sky and all that.
Is there a curse you're hoping that I can remove? Or perhaps some sort of healing that you're looking for?
Well, yes. So, I actually went back and found the crown that Varric tossed overboard. Now, I hope that this can remain between us because I don't want anyone to be led to believe that my intentions are nefarious. But really, it is a family heirloom and all that. And if it were up to me, I don't think I would have tossed it overboard just willy-nilly. But anyways, clearly it's very cursed. And I just wanted to know if you could take a look at it and maybe uncurse it for me.
She grabs the crown, sets it down, and she'll begin to cast a. She'll start with using an object to identify it, then begin to cast some spells here. She is going to cast a remove curse. Okay, so Alara is going to be able to essentially break the attunement from the spirit within you and this item. So what that means is, unless you are actually, like, equipping... Actually, I'd say unless you're actually attuning to this crown, it should not be able to have any sway over you. So in theory, it would even be safe to wear. Not that it would be advisable, but it's not something where like someone could just like put it on your head and you'll go nuts or you'll like lose control. Because it's essentially been like unattuned to by the spirit within you. She cannot disenchant it, and she'll say that save for a wish spell, nothing will be able to.
Okay. I see. Well, say, why wouldn't you advise me to wear it? If I just wanted to try it on, and you think anything bad would happen?
Well, I don't think anything bad would happen, but you never know. So that's just my generic thing that I tell people anytime I remove a curse, is just that sometimes there's more than one curse, and sometimes exact occult magic is not exact occult magic.
Of course. Okay. Well, he just awkwardly backs out of the room and finger guns Alara. Thanks. And
She'll finger gun you back.
just kind of keep this on the download. Okay, thanks. And he just leaves and goes back to his quarters. And I think that's all I'm going to try to accomplish right now.
Okay. And with that, after a long series of people just getting down with some downtime, we're going to go back to Vale, who is seeking out to find Dunsparrow. So there's no way, you are not able to detect her presence through your divination. You are not able to set up a meeting with her or anything like that. So how are you going about doing this?
Go back to the ship.
Okay.
Next day.
Okay.
The night of, she attempts to cast Dream
Okay.
To see if that works.
The dream spell fails.
Okay. Then she goes to oh man. Do I know if the Whispering Tower is still her office, or if there's an office she has in the Marble Palace place?
I think you would assume.
She's got her own office there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Man, not having changeling stuff right now, exactly when I need changeling stuff, is kind of the biggest pain in the ass ever.
That is correct.
I will ask. I will just ask somebody. I will. I know they won't give me. There's no appointments open. But Vale, dressed as a commoner, with a wrapped up gift, like a box with something that she has carved, just a little trinket within it. She walks up to a card or something at the Marble Palace.
Okay.
And somebody different that she has not talked to yet.
Okay. Fair enough.
Sorry, everything in the city is so crazy right now. I'm not sure exactly who I should talk to, but I have a gift here from a Cassius Manath, someone important to Lady Dunsparrow. But I haven't been able to get to her to deliver this.
You are in Vale form right now?
Yes, dressed as a commoner.
Okay. The guard just looks at you. This is one of the Gold Wardens. He says, yeah. She's been, this isn't the first of these we've gotten, so, wait here. And he turns, and he speaks to someone at a desk. You see it looks like kind of this, kind of youngish, like kind of pixie haircut, like elven female. She holds up a little stone and speaks some words into a thing. You watch, she puts it down and kind of gets back to what she's doing. With that, the guard turns to walk over towards you, and as soon as he turns, you see kind of a surprise as she like picks up the stone and like begins like looking a little bit more like, oh, like she's getting kicked into action now. And she looks at you and says, looks at the guard, kind of calls him back, and there's like kind of this discussion, and he kind of turns to you and says, it's being requested that you make this delivery in person.
Thank you. Finally, it is, and she'll just go. It is my boss is going to kill me, and she'll follow wherever or go wherever she's told to go.
Okay. With that, you are going to be led to an office, or an office space rather. This is not where her typical quarters have been. So, I mean, you haven't been, so you don't know if this is like her working space or what. But you open the door. The door is opened for you. And the guard steps in with you, and the more like the secretary kind of turns to leave, and the guard closes the door behind you and is like standing with you in the room. What you see is like kind of an audience chamber ahead of you. There's like a table with like some wine, refreshments. To the left there's a chamber, and to the right there's a chamber.
Okay.
As you kind of peek in, it looks like the area to the right is kind of more of the office space. As you peek in there, you just see this large desk with no one sitting there. There's like a large, like huge bookshelf. And you turn to the left and you do a bit of a double take. You do not see the Lady Dunsparrow. You see sitting on like a sofa, holding a glass of wine, a familiar face of Lord Oswald Beaumont. And with that, he just looks at you and says,
"Is the lady here?"
And he kind of begins to like peek, like, because you're wearing a hood.
I'm wearing like a sunflower yellow scarf wrapped around. She is not
Okay.
rogue-like.
You watch as he kind of like cocks his head and smiles and just goes, "Is that you in there, Cassius?"
Brother, I just wanted some downtime. Alright, fine. She decided to keep you alive. Is she alive?
Interesting you say that. She did not decide to keep me alive, which is why she is on a timeout right now. No, you can thank my return to your good friend, Faraday. At least someone has some modicum of loyalty. And with that, he begins to stand up, and he'll kind of just begin pacing behind his couch, kind of like looking over the city behind him with his hands behind his back. And with that, he just says, "You know, I had so many plans before, out of nowhere, you and your friends decided to come into my home and murder me in front of my daughter. You've also poisoned her against me, which, thank you for that. And she has seen fit to drive my empire into the ground and tarnish our family name. When Faraday got me back on my feet, he said that there were a couple rules. So I just want you to know I won't be coming after your family. Whatever happens next is just between you and me. And as satisfying as it would be to watch your eyes pop out of your head right now in front of me, I'd like you to wait a little bit longer. I'd like that despair to really set in. You will never see my daughter again. And you will see me one more time. Exactly one more time. And with that, he walks forward to you and he kind of gets like right up in your face. And then he's
Vale has been smiling at him the entire time.
he kind of cocks his head and looks at you and just says, all along, I knew you really were a killer. And with that, he kind of whispers into your ear, I very much look forward to our next meeting. And with that, he is going to just turn to his guard, give him a nod, and he's going to open the door, and 1, 3, 5 more gold wardens begin to step in and surround you.
Before they completely encompass me, the first time killing you was an accident, really. Pretty easy. We have many more under our belt now. I too look forward to the next time we meet. She's gonna subtle spell Dimension Door. Go out the back way, not onto a main street.
As you do that, the magic of the Dimension Door kind of pops up, kind of like going to suck you into it. And you see him cast a counterspell with nothing to target because the spell's already been cast, trying to stop you from doing this. And the last things you hear are just, grab her, and you're gone.
Off into the alleyways, off into the shadows, discarding the clothes. Well, boy, oh, that changes every single plan of downtime I had.
I'm sorry. You weren't supposed to do that.
So, just throwing it out there, how unreasonable is a cast solo jailbreak to get Dunsparrow out of prison?
You don't know where she is.
Yeah, I know. Okay. So...
Let me ask you this. You had some plans for downtime activities. If you'd like, I would definitely be down to let you do some of that stuff before we got to this point.
No.
Okay.
So, I make my way the long way back to the ship. Sundara, in the plane traveling, you're using Saltnor to get around, right? So the cube is open?
Cube is there. Also, for clarification, your teleportation charm only will teleport you. It is not a full teleport spell. It's only one person.
Looks like the band's getting back together.
And is the cube one gate, one plane shift per day? Alex or Jazz?
I wrote down 3 charges, regains 1d3 charge. That's not a dice.
Yeah.
Every day to cast gate or plane shift.
Yep.
That's what I wrote down.
Okay, so over the next few days and...
Oh, and I'm sorry, I determine which planes of existence we have access to.
Oh, nice.
So you can't just do it to any plane.
Okay, that's
Is it like random, you mean? So is it... Or you
It's
just say-
it's going to be random.
Okay.
Oh, so I just use it and it's a random thing that pops up.
Well, I'll say as part of like getting used to this area, I will I'm going to determine that right now. So 1.
Guys. Ah.
Actually, yeah. So this is going to be able to take you to one of the hells. You don't know which one, or you're gonna infer all this because it's written in Infernal. Another place it can take you to is the Shadowfell. It can take you to the Feywild. It can take you to the Astral Plane. It can take you to the Abyss, and they can take you to Mechanus.
Okay. A couple of those sound absolutely horrible. All right.
Didn't they open it from a world of water or whatever? The water plane?
That was a different gate.
Oh, sorry.
So this was just it's the equivalent item that was being used.
So over the next couple of days, Vale is going to prepare rations and gear, camping, survival, door gear, prepare spells, and then every day that goes by, she like wakes up with the anticipation that today is going to be the day that the traveler like reaches back out to her. And I don't know, maybe like a week after downtime starts, Sandara, you're gonna get a message in your head. Are you in Mechanus by this point? Okay. You hear
Yes.
Vale. Sandara, I have a favor to ask. Can I come to you? Are you in the middle of something?
I'm available, just in a different plane, if that makes it harder. I'm in Mechanus. In the message really quick with that, just because I forget that.
Just because timing might be a little bit weird, we're going to say that the way this stuff worked out is... Well, because Cass, you didn't really... Or Vale, you didn't really do all that much. You just, like, went straight to find Dunsparrow, and then all this stuff popped up, right?
Yeah, this is, like, at most, like, 5 days after.
Yeah, so yeah, this is going to be, like, you are in Mechanus still. So we haven't gotten to the Eat, Pray, Love part.
Don't take my Eat, Pray, Love from me.
It might end up happening.
It won't, I swear, I'm not trying to change anything. Okay, so... I'm not sure exactly how we're going to do it. I think we can, but if I cast Gate to... If I cast Gate on somebody's name, it opens a gate and pulls them forward. But does the gate then close immediately?
I think it just links the space.
If it remains open and just kind of...
It does say up to 1 minute for duration. The portal lasts for the duration.
Yeah.
Says that in the spell.
Yeah.
Okay. Then I will, let me open it. Vale would know this surely, but I don't. So past gates, summoning Sandara Idlisthorn?
Elsithorn?
Elsithorn?
Mhm.
It's misspelled.
I think.
It's misspelled.
I don't remember, actually. I've never used it, so you can say whatever you want it to be, and I'll say that's what it is.
Have you had... Okay, well, this actually matters if this has never come up.
This
Have
has
I ever
never come up.
I don't think I've ever said my full
This is the
name.
first I'm hearing of it.
I
Do you
think
need
you
my
only
full
know my
name?
last
Do you need
name.
my first and last name?
Well, I need your true name.
Sundar is my true first
I
name.
would feel that Sundara, you don't need to get the whole name.
Okay.
I think like Sundara, if you're concentrating on that person, if that's their true name, then it would work.
There's an intent there. Okay, yeah. I'm forcibly pulling Sandara to me, and then I'm gonna apologize. My bad. It's the only way I could do it. And then step through
Okay.
the gate.
Yeah. So Sundara, you're gonna be. I don't even know what you're doing at this time, but you're. Yeah, I don't know that you expect the gate thing to happen. So I'm gonna say you're doing some clockwork shenanigans right now, and then out of nowhere a gate opens up and you are pulled through. Solinor steps out as well, like disintegration in hand. As I imagine Cass, you're just like holding this like cubic gate,
Yeah.
and you walk past the both of them into Mechanus, being like, "Sorry."
Really sorry to interrupt. This place is big. Sandara, I'm gonna keep it
Well,
real short. Things are shit.
yeah. Oh. It's been 5 days. What do you mean things are shit?
Exactly. Fun, isn't it?
Okay. Is someone dead?
Probably not. We don't need to worry about it.
Okay.
Solinor,
Nods.
remember when we were in Faraday's little ball and we sort of took that drug and we all went to those different places?
Yes.
You think you could do that, maybe?
Which place are you talking about the different planes or when you went to a whole new world?
The second one.
Oh. Yeah, I could. Wait, do you want to go there by yourself or do you want me to? I'm confused. What's happening, Cass?
I think I might be able to get my own way back. But if you could just send me there and then, you know, if 3 months go by and you haven't heard from me, come and pick me up, maybe?
Okay. Pick me up, Mom, I'm scared. Yeah, I need a day to prepare,
Yeah,
I guess.
of course. Yeah, real sorry to interrupt on
I mean,
what
I
you're
was
doing
just
here.
making clockwork stuff. It's totally fine.
Well, I'll
Yeah,
make myself
I'm pretty sure I've never done this before. I had only really read about it and um yeah, it takes a while to prepare, but yeah, I can send you to that world. Do you need stuff?
No,
You have food or
she pats the folded cloth on her hip. I've got everything I think I need for a few weeks at least.
okay.
Yeah, I think I should be fine. I mean, it's a dead world. There's nothing there to put me in danger. You know, you're going here, and this place is quite amazing. I think I kind of want to go home too.
Okay. I'll go get ready and I go long rest somewhere. Probably on a gear. I don't freaking know.
Yep. Okay.
I'll talk Solomon's ear off for as long as he'll let me about planes.
Okay. Yeah, okay. Are you trying to, like, get information from him, or, like, are you just kind of blabbering?
I'm trying to, like, hey, so if someone was going to step into the Feywild for the first time, like, what exactly should they need to know to not die immediately? And, like, kind of just that vibe for everything that
Okay.
he is willing to share.
The biggest thing is he'll talk to about, like, time dilation, where if you go into the Feywild and come out of it, there's a very well-known phenomenon where you could be in there for a day and come back a year later. Or you could be in there for, like, a couple weeks and come back, like, a few minutes after you entered. He does note there is a way to kind of loosely predict cycles of how the dilation happens, although it's imprecise and not exact, but it gives you a better chance of kind of determining how it's going to go down. He'll kind of sit down, kind of conjure up some notes, and do some, like, hand calculations. And he will indicate that currently there is, well, let me put it this way. So currently, time in the Feywild is contracting, meaning that any time you spend there will be less time spent on the outside world.
So it's
so
a week in the Feywild, a day in normal plane?
more or less. However, he's saying it is approaching the neutral period where it will continue to accelerate the longer you're there. And ultimately flip into, like, losing time.
Okay. Yeah, I make some notes. Really general things. And Vale is, like, talking to keep herself distracted, sort of a little impatiently waiting for Samira.
I mean, it only takes 4 hours. So. Yeah, 4 hours later, I come up. So I've never cast this spell before, and without you or an object from the world, I won't be able to come to you or cast it again. So,
Well, that's easy enough. Here. And she'll just pull off the precursor and hand it or set it on the ground.
okay. You have another weapon just in case, I presume?
I mean, the probably should be. It's there's nobody there on the. I think everything is dead.
Are you sure about that? I don't know. I'm just worried about you. Seems very hasty and concerning, and she, like, puts the precursor in her bag of holding. But we've got time to think about it. It takes about 6 hours to cast a spell, so get comfortable.
No, I actually have my gun back.
Yeah. No. Yep. Mm-hmm.
I
She
like
hands it
how
to
I feel without it. I think I can find my own way back.
Let's see. Yeah, I'm trying to think. So you have no
Preferably
other.
if you could target me. I've read the spell cast doesn't know, but, like,
Yeah.
if you could target cast.
Seems probably safest to target you. So yeah, she will conjure a clockwork set of chairs that are facing each other, and
I will
will.
say, by the way, these clockwork chairs are so comfortable. And the reason is because they're essentially made up of microscopic clockwork components that literally conform to your body. So it actually feels like sitting on a cloud, because although the entire thing is made of metal, they are so like infinitely small in each like um, constituent part that it literally feels like fabric. So it's like clockwork pieces with a thread count.
Clockwork memory foam. Um, so initially these chairs are facing each other, and she begins casting the spell. The actual casting time is it's Dream of the Blue Veil, is 10 minutes, but then will be unconscious for 6 hours. So at the end of the casting time, the chairs will kind of slowly recline back into like a neutral position, um, as we fall unconscious and start dreaming about the world that you are from.
We plug into the matrix.
Plug into the
Okay.
matrix.
Um, so
Can you
so
even sleep?
For me,
Yeah.
the spell makes you fall unconscious, so
Oh, okay.
yeah, you can be
Mhm.
unconscious. I'll say. So Vale, where are you? Where are you trying to go? Actually, Sundara has to indicate it.
I so based on previous conversations with Cass slash Vale, my understanding is that they themselves are from another world. So I'm casting this on Vale, assuming that it will take her to her world.
Again, not that my character knows this, but the reading of the spell is like if it goes to a safe location next to their home. If it's
Within
cast
1
on a
mile
person, yeah.
where they were born.
Yes. Okay. So you can, but I think Sundara, you're coming along. Like, I don't think she can just send you there.
Oh shit.
You can return by
Yeah,
casting
I'll
it the
just
next day.
casting it on myself.
Well, so doesn't this end?
I
This
think
ends. Well, but here's what's interesting.
so. I think the vision ends and you are teleported there, and then so I think you have to
Oh,
be
I see.
unconscious
Okay.
and unharmed for 6 hours, and then you're teleported there.
Okay.
Yeah, and then I've got my stuff with me, so when we get there, I'll just wait a day, and then cast it on one of my items to go home, back to my world, or myself, I guess.
The casual dimension hopping.
Solinar was gonna want to go with you on this.
Yeah, that's fair. That seems reasonable.
Totally fair.
Yeah, yeah. So he will go with you on this. He's also going to vehemently protest this idea. He's gonna say that it's like wildly dangerous to do this.
I mean, which part is dangerous? Is it the
Well,
world?
we could very much so. You have no idea. He said himself it is a dead world. You have no idea what's waiting for you the other side. There's also the small possibility that any magic you use has no effect in this other world, because it's an entirely different reality that may exist with a completely different preset of uh, of
I see what you're saying.
rules regarding how the weave operates. You may very well have to relearn how to cast magic, even if it's even possible. You may be going to a world in which the weave itself is broken, especially if it's being described as a dead world.
Look at Cat.
Okay, that was a lot of stuff I didn't like and didn't even consider. Sundara, I'm not gonna put your life.
Have you been there before?
Yes, under the protection of a god.
he looks at you, Sindara, and says, I've seen you make many sacrifices for the people that you care about. It is your choice as to whether or not you want to take this risk. And if you do, I will come with you, but I just want to make sure that everyone understands the possibilities.
Well, I'll be the one to say it. I'm not going to put you two at risk for that. So, sorry for wasting 4 hours, but...
He's gonna hold his hand up to cut you off, and look at you, Sindara, and just says, if you go, I'm with you.
I look at Cass. What? Are you sure? Because I feel like you wouldn't just ask me to teleport you to another world for no reason.
I really, really need to see my home. My actual home. And I'm hoping, I think, I have no reason to disbelieve the traveler can find me there, and that he will. Dunsparrow's missing. Beaumont is alive.
My face transforms from like you say Dunsparrow's missing, and there's like a momentary like wave of sadness, and you say Beaumont's alive, and it's just like what? Like I just got slapped.
Yeah, Solinor also notably like recoils of that and cocks his head towards you.
Faraday's already made things complicated, it looks like. So I don't want to deal with that right now. I would like to just go away for a bit, but if it risks your lives, I will force the traveler to come.
And you trust the traveler. You've met him in this other world.
I trust him, yeah, but I don't think he would just let me die.
Okay. She like grimaces. Let's go.
You're casting the spell?
I'll look at Cass one more time, and I nod. And yeah, I'll go ahead and do it.
Okay. You all sit in your Inception chairs. There's a sensation that you are just being like flung at like light speed just through the universe. As you're sitting in your chairs, they just slowly disintegrate as the rest of the world around you disintegrates. And with this like shudder and this like recoil of acceleration, deceleration, you find yourself sitting in a beautiful but daunting, towering forest, while you're sitting in these clockwork chairs that are planted in the soil here.
Oh. This isn't what I expected.
These trees are. I thought you said it was a dead world. I was imagining.
It was like a desert.
I try and do like a minor illusion cantrip.
It works.
God.
Oh.
Is Gareth here?
Maybe. Well, wow. Thank you for taking that. Can't fail will run up and hug Sindora.
I
Thank you.
hug Vale. Yeah. Are you sure you don't want to leave the precursor with me? I feel a little weird. Just leaving you here with no way back to get you, just in case.
Can you give me 60 seconds to answer?
I could give you like 12 hours because I'm not going anywhere.
Okay. Vale will go and find a soft
Oh, wait.
patch.
Or if we can find a magic item just floating around here right now, I can take that back with me.
That works. Yeah. She'll find a soft patch of moss and kneel down in it and pull out a stick of incense, plant it into the ground, and light it. And I'll cast Commune, 5th level, on the Traveler.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
As you cast the spell, you begin to hear some footsteps on fallen leaves behind you.
Turn around.
Yeah, you see the traveler, kind of arms crossed, that has just walked up behind all of you. Solinor looks especially shaken right now, and he's looks like he's ready to pounce if he needs to.
Oh, good. Oh my gosh, I really didn't think.
He says, "Well, you decided to come home."
I need to, yes.
He just kind of turns and waves his hand, and you watch as there's just like this wall of trees that all immediately collapse, like they almost just slam the top portion of themselves into the earth and then curl in and almost turn into roots themselves, and you almost see like snakes traveling through the ground. As they do that, you watch as this structure in the distance is revealed. It looks like the best way I could describe it is it almost looks like pieces of, honestly, almost like a clockwork device, but they're made of stone. And it's so impressively large that there are literally clouds between yourself and this stone, almost like a sundial, that's got it's sitting cupped in a mountain range with what looks like some little structures over there. Like there's some kind of village that's at the base of this huge wondrous monument. And
I'll figure that out.
he pulls out this little something from his pocket and kind of twiddles it around his fingers and waves a hand, and there's almost like this a light rail of what look like gates that just turn this into almost like a speed walking session to this area, where you're now just walking through a checkpoint of about 60 portals that interconnect to get you to this place.
Well, Sandara, I think I'm plenty safe here. But I think you're also trapped here for a few hours, so wanna come see my home?
Sure. That sounds great. Thanks for the invitation.
She'll leap through the portals.
hesitant for walking through the portals behind Vale.
The drifter is sitting there staring at both you and Solinor. He is dressed very strangely. He essentially has like a cowboy hat, like some black leathers, and he's wearing like a bandana around his nose and mouth, and he's got these like piercing blue eyes that look like if you look into his eyes, you're literally looking into like another dimension.
I feel like someone who's come to like someone's Thanksgiving dinner and I don't know any of the people and I'm like, wait, why am I here? And I'm uncomfortable. I really want to go home, but I can't because it's rude. So.
Yep. So, you walk by him and you watch Solinor like briefly looks like a little off-put and walks by you and whispers into your ear and says, he can see us casting spells.
Okay. Well, I will not cast anything.
You travel through this like essentially like array of gap junctions that leads you to this village. As you get there, you just see a kind of humble assortment of like thatch cabins. You see many of the cabins here are also, as you look closely, like what you thought was wood, it looks like they're dried out like giant mushrooms that have kind of been covered in some foliage that like very nicely interweaves with it all. It is not very busy here. You see a few changelings here and there.
Wait, there's people?
Yep.
Okay.
There are just like full-on changelings that are just kind of like walking around, kind of like entering their homes. You watch as one changeling just kind of like walks up to you, and then just like it's about like 4 feet tall, and you watch as it like cocks its head, and in a split second like turns into you, and then turns back into its original form, and like gives you a nod, and continues walking.
I don't even.
Is that like a changeling custom?
I have no idea. I have no idea. Right. Do I is there any magical sense or anything pulling me towards any structure in particular, or is it just a general feeling? If not, I'm going to walk around to find an abandoned place, if there is one.
You look around and you see what looks like a temple. This structure, it almost looks like it's a cathedral, but again, it looks like it's been made out of an assortment of like dried, like fungal elements. And as you step in, you just see leaving what looks like a very tall changeling, like maybe about like 6'4", like significantly taller than you. Kind of like walks by you, like extremely lanky, kind of Slenderman kind of vibes. Walks by you, looks at you, and then turns into Vale, Sandara, Solinor, and back into itself.
I think that's a hello. Has anybody? Hello. Do you understand me?
As it hears you talking, it kind of turns and cocks its head curiously.
I try that again in Sylvan.
It responds in Sylvan. Hello.
There we go.
It has been some time since we've had some travelers.
I think it's been a long time since I've been here. Is it alright if I go in this temple? And
You are one of the chosen that has come home.
oh, great.
This is your temple.
Oh, wonderful. I turn to the traveler. I have a lot of questions for you. And we're going to ask those questions later.
He just kind of looks at you blankly.
And I go into the temple.
Okay. So as you enter, it again looks like a cathedral here. There are like almost pews of like like fungal make, but it's like dried up wood. And as you look at the kind of front space, what you see is like a shrine that looks like it has been made to like multiple gods or people or what have you. And you see a wall of names.
Okay. I will. Excuse me. Sorry, I'm just gonna go read all of the names, look at all the faces.
Yeah. So you look over, and all the like paintings. There's like little like it's like a mural. There are a painting of about 27 or so changeling faces that all look identical. There are like very subtle differences that you can tell, Vale, looking at these. And the names are all in Sylvan. And there's like a numeral system that looks like it's some kind of timestamp that you don't have any reference to.
Okay. Drifter, how long ago did you, well, we haven't really talked about it yet. It's one of the things I want to talk about. How long ago did you take me away?
Changes in time are relative to the stance of the viewer. So, how long ago for you would be about 23 years. For them, about 3 years.
Okay. Not exactly what I was expecting. It is a bit unfortunate. But I am going to have to be right
You gonna shed your skin?
Yes. Cass, to keep this as ungruesome as possible into the books, Vale is going to commit suicide, but in a very meticulous and planned out manner. She goes to an isolated place in the forest and opens up the portable hole and crawls within and sits next to the box containing Vale's soul and Cass's body. And she still has the contingency spell up. And then she will swiftly end her life as Vale.
Okay. I'm gonna say, as you do, I assume you have the precursor on you.
Yes.
As you go to do this, you feel this like pressure on your forehead as you look, and there's a gloved hand within the portable hole that grabs your forehead, puts a hand on the barrel of the gun, and like just pulls your head back. And then like it's almost like something woke you up, and you look down, and there is instead the unconscious, but like stasis body of Vale, and you have been put back into the body of Cass.
What?
So you didn't have to use your contingency, but it looks like the Traveler has maybe played a bit of a practical joke here and changed the targets of your spell.
Okay.
So your contingency will now put you in Vale's body.
Okay. Okay, well now this is actually just a really big problem, I think. But getting used to his muscles being unused for about a week, he'll rip the mask off his face and then sort of crawl over to Vale and put it on her face.
Okay.
And then jump out of the hole after a few tries, make his way back into the city.
Okay.
As a changeling.
Okay. So Cass, you begin to step in. Now, as you step in your changeling form, you see like a wayward changeling that looks at you, and then like kind of bows a little bit and changes into 4 separate forms before turning back into itself.
4 separate like changeling looking things?
Like you watch it turn into a briefly like a dragonborn, then into a female high elf, then into a male human, and into a dwarf, and back into itself. In the span of about like a second and a half.
And Sylvan, I'm sorry. I've been a bit removed from the culture. What exactly does it mean when you all do that?
When we greet an insider, typically we show a glimpse into the lives that we've lived.
Oh.
And when we greet an outsider, we give them a reflection of themselves within us as a way that we might find common ground.
Well,
That's so adorable.
in that case, and Cass will bow and turn into a very short, stout dwarf, and then into a male half-elf and Vale, and a female human woman, all in the bow, and then return as just a changeling.
it kind of cocks its head and says, "So you have shown me your true forms. And now we have seen each other truly."
Well, that wasn't rude, was that?
It is not rude as long as you are not being dishonest. And they give a smile and begin to walk away.
Yeah, I'll go meet back with everybody. So there is nothing in particular that I want to do here. Well, I guess on this day, Cass will go up to the Traveler. So we have a lot of time on our hands right now. I think with you especially, time might be on my side. Would you be able to get me back safely to New Callum?
Yes.
Perfect.
Why?
Well, I don't want to part with the precursor. And I don't want to have Sandara make her way back here to pick me up. So if you can do it...
Then it sounds like you'll have to find your own way back.
Wait, hold on, I thought you said you can do it.
I can.
But you won't?
Correct.
Okay. I won't ask why. Alright.
Wise.
In that case, I will hand over the precursor to Sandara.
I like lean in close and whisper talk to Cass just because I don't know what the rules are here. Are you sure there's no other magical items I can take to get back here?
Well, let me try something.
Just in case, you know. Can't hurt to ask.
What did one of the something children? What did somebody call me here?
The chosen?
Surely not the chosen children.
Well, you're one of the chosen that has come home. This is your temple. Quote.
With this, you watch as the Traveler just looks at you and nods towards the wall. And you can see in text, now that you're like looking from a little bit further away, there's an area above it that says Wall of Pilgrims.
Okay, I'll check that out. Before I'm gonna go look for Cass.
Okay. As you look over the wall, kind of like trying to cross-reference the vague timelines that the Traveler gave, you go to the most recent area because it looks like they're counting up. On the most recent area, you see the name Nyrea, and the translation of that in Sylvan would read as the Soul of Illusion. That, your estimation is that looks like that is the most recent. That is someone who left this year, for however they're counting time. So with that in mind, you would be the second to last one. So going back from that is where you find you see a name that sounds familiar, even though you've never heard it or spoken it before. And that name is Kethris. And the translation of that is the Wanderer's Path.
Okay. And these portrayals, they just look like changelings?
Yep. There is something familiar about the face of Kethris.
Okay. at it for a while and really absorb it in. And then go outside.
Okay.
And walk up to somebody.
Okay. You see a changeling about your size that is just kind of like sitting down at what looks like a water well, and as you approach, they stand and face you.
Hello.
They change into 7 different forms.
Many lives, friend. Congratulations. I have just been made aware of my name and perhaps my importance. So as Kethris, the one on the wandering path, do you have like a magical item or a trinket or something that is beloved of yours that carries a touch of magic you'd be willing to trade?
You are no more important than any of the pilgrims.
Thank God.
Although I do congratulate you for beginning your pilgrimage. It's unusual that any of our children come to return, but impressive nonetheless that you've made your way back with the sovereign in tow, no less.
Oh, we kind of got a thing going.
You're hoping for an item imbued with magic.
A souvenir of my home to remember when I leave.
Your home.
I am
This
very
place.
confused, yes.
We do not traditionally refer to this place as our home, as our purpose is to make home wherever it is that he sends us. Most of us feel that until we make the pilgrimage, we have not yet found our home. Yet you have been drawn back here.
Well, wherever I got dropped off is in a bit of a shitty situation. So I thought a journey back to where I was born would be nice.
Well, I hope you enjoy your stay, but being someone that knows little about the shitty situation, perhaps the answer would be moving forward and changing your situation to find your home instead of looking back.
Wise words.
With that, you watch as they're kind of wearing like this kind of indescript tunic, and you watch as they pull off this what looks like a bracer, but it unclasps, and they hand it to you. You've never seen anything that looks like this. It's made of like kind of this really ugly metal. And it's got these like really colorful like tiny tubes that are like running through it. That are like bright orange, yellow, red, that are like peeking out of certain pieces of the metal. And you see these tiny little, like, kind of golden colored little, like, tiny platforms and connections and things like that. And on the face of the object, there is, like, it's exuding light in a way where there are numbers where it says like 78%.
This guy just handed his Apple Watch?
So meta. I'm losing my brain.
Yeah, I mean it's super like large, and there's definitely what looks like these like pixelated runes that are on this like platform.
Okay. Thank you. In return, I would you like something in return? Of course you do. I slap down the hole. I don't know what to give people. I pull out Mythalium. Just a full-on shard of Mythalium.
They reach out their hand and say, "Oh no, not at all. I will be making my pilgrimage soon myself to find my own home, and I'll be leaving all this behind anyways."
Oh. Well,
But
good luck to you.
But because you have a place to go, perhaps you can find some use out of this.
I will, absolutely. This saves me a lot of trouble.
Did you put it on, or did you just hold it?
Just holding it.
Okay.
Well, now I'm curious. I say my thanks and give whatever appropriate greeting or dismissal or goodbye, I think. It's culturally appropriate.
Okay.
And then make my way back to Sindara, fiddling with this thing. So it's a metal band with wires poking in and out of it with a clock face on it that is telling.
It doesn't have a clock face. It's like a band that's basically a screen. And what you notice as you put it on, you get some sense of how to use this device. And basically, as you're just kind of like toying with it, you watch as that chain just goes, "Would you like a demonstration?"
Oh, I was going to pretend, but yes, please. I'm very curious.
It connects with your thoughts and your instincts. So when you need to protect yourself, you do it with your hand. And he like makes kind of like a swatting motion.
Okay.
And like nods like in anticipation, like go ahead.
Oh. I quick draw on fire on him.
Oh, he's not wearing it.
Oh.
He's just like miming what you do.
Oh, okay, never mind. Scratch that. I Jedi mind wipe him.
As you do, you watch as the watch, almost like an Iron Man hand, just like begins to immediately like cover your hand and turns into like this big metal gauntlet. And there's this warbling sound, and it creates kind of like this brief projection of like an arcane shield that lasts like a second, and then it collapses, and then it turns back into the little watch.
Very cool. Very useful. You sure you don't want it with you on your... Well, no, I want it.
So this is the equivalent of a so this is known as a pocket watch. And this is basically the equivalent of like if you were wearing like a physical shield. It gives you a +2 bonus to your AC, but you don't need proficiency in shields. The issue is you can't use it while you're holding another weapon or anything like that.
Okay.
Also, you're pretty sure it's going to be inert when you go back to your homeworld.
Well, that's fine. I will hand over the bracelet to you. And then I'm not too sure. Yeah, to you, Sundar. I'm not too sure this is going to work. So, as much as I hate it, and as unwilling to help as the traveler apparently is,
as you say that, you watch as he just like waves his hand and like walks through an invisible door and disappears.
We're still talking later. I'm gonna hand you the guns.
Contentious relationship, huh? Okay. So when do I come back? Can you send me can you send messages?
I doubt it, because we're not even on a different plane, you know? It's a little weird.
Yeah.
So, come back when you need me. Come back when everybody is willing to get back together.
And what if everyone's just like, that was fun, and I'm just like living my life and nobody ever calls and needs me, so I assume they never need you. You want me to just leave you here forever? I mean, I can come back and just chat for a couple months, just be like, hey, you doing okay? Do you need some food? You miss home? I mean, I don't know.
Wait, hold on. 20. Hold on, because you might come back for like a 90-year-old Cass. I just realized.
So, what was it? 23 years to 3 years. So
that was through multiple cycles of time dilation, and you have no idea where you are on the scale of that. And as you're like mapping it out, Solinor looks at it and he says, like, that's too complicated to try to calculate.
Okay, so I should just come back in a couple of weeks. Our time.
How about give it this? Give me 3 months here.
Okay.
Surely, I might be a little bit older, but that'll be fine.
We have that potion of regeneration, something that takes some years off your life.
Oh shit. Okay.
So, perfect timing.
Cool. Well, thank you, Sundara, again.
I give Cass another big hug, and I'm like, hey, be careful out here.
I will be. I think, I actually don't even know where I am, but these people here are nice.
Yeah, they seem great. They all look like you when you're in your fun little blob form, so that's fun.
Yeah, fun. Yeah, fun here.
Yeah. I guess we're gonna just go head in the forest and like sit around for an hour and then bounce. So.
With that, you watch as the traveler steps back through an invisible door. And he is going to walk over to you, Cass, and then he's going to pull out a gun. He's going to hold it like next to your head, not pointed at you, but pointed up. And he's just going to like fire it right next to your ear. And you're going to take a point of thunder damage.
Okay. Are we just doing that
which
for
is
fun now?
Which is also going to end the spell.
Oh.
And Sundara, you and Solinor are shunted back into your chairs, and Cass, you feel that thing pulling you, and the traveler holds onto you. And
tightly.
As Sundara, you're shunted back for what would have been much longer than 6 hours, because it goes on the casting time of the spellcaster, which is technically back on the material plane. So it would have been more like days that you would have had to stay here to wait it out. Also, Cass, at about this time, I need you to make a concentration. Actually, no, it's not concentration. Right? Yeah. Your spell, you would get the sense is about halfway done. Your commune spell. Because it usually lasts, I think, like 10 minutes or something.
Let me check.
Or a minute.
Forgot.
Well, it should have been, but it's not.
Oh.
So you feel that you've got about half of it left, which it feels like you've been here for like an hour or so.
Okay. All right. Well, then, seeing the grasp that I still have on the traveler, is there a reason I shouldn't stay here?
He just says, "This is not a place that people make their homes. There are families and there are connections, but everyone knows that the ultimate goal is to find purpose beyond this place. If you feel that you've accomplished that and you wish to spend the rest of your life here, watching people like you grow up and leave, I'm not going to stop you. As long as you feel that you've completed your purpose."
No, I just wanted answers, and I got some of them. With the last question of commune, now it says you receive a correct answer for each question. It doesn't necessarily say truthful. And as the compulsion of the spell fades, as Cass asks the drifter, "Are you lonely?"
He cocks his head. "I don't know."
That sounds like a yes, but you're trying to deny it.
I have been completely exiled from the comfort of time. I cannot quantify how long I have existed, and I don't remember what loneliness feels like.
I'm not quite sure what that means. So I'm going to take it as a yes, and a little gun that you used to own told me you were lonely and would talk to it all the time. I made it to where the gun could talk back. It still doesn't talk very much. But I have something for you if, well, hold on, give me 1 moment. I pull out the hole again, crawl in head first, put something in my coat, my clothing, hide it underneath, and then crawl back out. And then Cass gets on his knees and like rests back on his heels in front of the traveler. And as he pulls out something from his shirt, he says, I made this, and it is precious to me. And I was gifting it. Things have changed, so I have a gift, but I also have a request, perhaps. And they are unrelated. They're separate things. So, and Cass pulls out what looks like a bat that was steroids. It is a very roided out looking bat. It's got wings, but it's got the head of like a frog. Sharp, like wide grin, the entirety of its head, sharp razor fangs, like mottled tan and brown skin. And he like holds it out in front of him, like to his sternum. This is Telerast. She's only a few weeks, week old. Right. My name and Cass goes into like a very formal like ceremonial presentation. My name is Cassius Manath, and I am giving this gift in sincerity and with no expectation of reciprocity. Do you, traveler, accept my gift?
With that, he reaches his hand out and kind of grabs this creature by the scruff of its neck, and he pulls it. And as he does, its skin pulls like way too far before it actually starts to lift. It's got like Laffy Taffy skin. As he like pulls it up and like holds it towards himself, like kind of looking down at it, because again, it's got this like about a foot of skin that he's holding it from. He just says, "This creature doesn't belong here. It will fit in perfectly. Thank you, Cassius Manath. I accept this gift."
Wonderful. And the request. You're right. I don't want to stay here long. A week or so. I just wanted to see my home. But I did want to travel the plains. I do want to see the sights that are to be seen. Would you please take me with wherever you go for a while? A day, 2 days.
The places that I go might not be the places that you'd want to see.
I can handle
But-
it, I swear.
Okay. Well, if that's the case, and he takes this creature, like picks it up, and it kind of like squeaks a little bit as he like opens his coat and like stuffs it inside his coat, and then just turns and says, well, "You might want to take on a form because we're running late."
Oh, of course. Body blurs, cloak shimmers, and he's good old Cass.
Okay. With that, he kind of waves his hand, and you see in one of the walls, there's just kind of like this, like sand. And as he like steps through the sand, you see he's stepping kind of through this like into a town. It's very like kind of dust-ridden, but the architecture is almost a little bit like medieval. But you can tell you're in a different time. Things just look kind of off. I mean, you see a lot of familiar things, like you see what looks like a blacksmith that seems to be like sharpening an axe. People are trading with gold and such like that, but you see a couple of people here that are wearing things that just don't make sense to you. With that, you hear a commotion that the traveler is like walking towards, and he's like pushing people aside as he's moving past them, and you kind of do the same to try to keep up. And you begin to hear screaming, and you watch as he kind of like stops and kind of looks down into a plaza that you're standing at like a full level above, and you see these like fully armored knights wielding these like beautiful great swords that have just started completely like slaughtering innocent people. The knights are not wearing helmets, and they're just these black-haired half-orcs, and they begin yelling, "My name is Sir Gareth Blazeheart, and in the name of Ioun, I smite you," and they are just like killing civilians. With that, you watch as this group of individuals like rush out of this house and begin trying to like defend the city. The entire place is just like exploding in pandemonium. You see one of the individuals is like using a bow. People are casting spells, and at one point, this smiling like half elf runs out with this smile that's like way too big for their face, and just begins like clawing into some people within this like mercenary group, it appears. And the drifter is just sitting here watching all this kind of in the background, like somewhat hidden.
Are we here just to see, or are we doing something about this?
We're not going to intervene.
All right. Cass will sit down and dangle his feet over the edge of this rooftop and watch.
You watch as there is this maybe 15-year-old kid with like dirty blonde hair that's wearing like the uniform of a guard, and his helmet was so big it kind of fell off his head as he's running here, just looking absolutely terrified. And he like stares off into, he like kind of blanks out as he's staring directly at you. As all this is going on, he's just like seems to be so befuddled that someone would just be sitting here with their legs dangling off the ledge, like watching this atrocity happen before them. And they're literally like danger all around them, and they are like just paralyzed right now with whether it's fear or just confusion while they're staring at you.
I slowly lift the precurse. No, I don't have it. I point my finger up at them and
as that happens, you watch as they're jolted a little bit, and there's this little gnome with black hair that grabs them by the chest and pulls them down to their level. And even from here, you hear him say, "Listen here, I know you're just a kid, but I need you to fucking do something right now." And with that, this individual kind of like snaps back to it and just takes this dagger and like chucks it at what looks like a full-on Rakshasa that took the form of that half-elf, and hits it right in the chest, and you watch as it screams and is like mortally wounded from that. And with that, you kind of see a shifting of the weight of the traveler next to you, and just nods and says, "All right, we can go to the next one now." And with that, we're going to end our session.
That's
Crazy.
That's really cool.
I remember that.
I'm sorry if that took so long, everybody. I didn't
No, that was awesome.
Oh, loved it. Yep, loved
Yeah.
it. Please. This session was crazy. My notes are so long. Longest I think I've ever taken.
So how long officially is this downtime session?
Well, you made it almost impossible to calculate by going into the Feywild in another world.
Thanks a lot, bud.
Well, no, because it's going to be however long it is for Cass, dog. But then, like, whenever something happens, or something,
You mean when the crew gets
Like-
back together?
Is this all
Like
up to
Beaumont
Derek? 'Cause
comes up. Where's
you're the
Samuki?
So There are events that may happen if you wait long enough. I was not anticipating that you would learn about Oswald Beaumont being back, because I imagine that might actually be I could see that being the catalyst that shunts you guys out of downtime, knowing that he's actively gunning for everyone.
Yeah, that if anyone other than Cass knew about that, I would be back, ready to re-crush his chest.
Hey, Sandara knows. She'll probably say something.
He,
I am backpacking through Europe, and I do not have cell phone service.
I have 2 new characters ready to fucking go. So if Cass is lost in the Feywild in a different world, that's how it goes, you know.
I mean, but at the same time, you're kind of the main one that he wants. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you also didn't say like what's up. You're just like, Beaumont's back. I'm gonna go to this world real quick.
Yeah, you kind of dropped that bomb and then like left.
Dipped.
I didn't even want to tell you because I didn't want that
That's
to be
fair.
an influence on
Yeah,
things
yeah, that's
on
fair.
downtime.
Well, too bad.
Derek, you can enjoy your peace in New Callum, not knowing.
Yeah, you're having
That he's in the same city.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I might figure it out on accident.
Yeah, probably.
Probably, yeah.
I mean, it probably won't be an
Yeah.
accident, but